Here's your good friend Rafa Sparzo, your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster. I'm excited that you guys are rejoining us. If you weren't here earlier to watch the prelims, you've missed out. There were some great fights. However, we're glad you're here because we have a lot more than just UFC Fight Night Vegas 3. We also have the Third Coast Grappling's Kumite that is happening live from Texas that we're going to be covering this evening. And yes, you are going to be watching a fight companion. For those of you who are watching and are freeloaders, I totally understand we're not going to show you any footage, but instead I'll be able to describe it to you because you're poor. Or you're just looking for some companionship. Either way, I don't really mind. Just don't be dicks. That's really all we're asking. So right now we're in the possibility of seeing, I believe it is going to be Jim Miller versus Roosevelt Roberts. This is going to be at a catch weight of 160 pounds. Not really sure exactly why the catch weight is happening, but hey, let's just call it COVID weight. Because I really feel like Corona weight is a category that we should go. I know a lot of people were talking about 165 as being a category they'd love to see. I'm going to now push for Corona weight, because I feel like Corona weight is really not an expectation we should put on every single person in this world. Like, listen, dude, that standard of trying to make weight right now has got to be one of the hardest things in the world. So join us throughout this evening. Just remember, the way the broadcast works is very simple. If you guys want to be part of the broadcast, what we do is this. We give a cheers to those fighters who get finishes within regulations. So that means if they get a stoppage or a submission, we toast them. However, if you guys like and share this video, we also give you a toast live on the air as well. So those are the rules that we have set up for you guys this evening. Right now, Jim Miller and Roosevelt Roberts have already made their way out to the octagon, which means we can start and continue with the proceedings. For some of you, depending on where you're coming in, Bruce is doing the introductions right now. I will walk you through what exactly is going on as we continue to do a lot of fun. Jim Miller is looking a real saucy right now. He is ready to break this out. That makes for usually good fights to watch. And Roosevelt Roberts, I feel very bad. I believe we were supposed to give him a cheers the last time. I don't think we did. So we're going to try and make do for making up and making in for some lost time here at the Grappling Hour. My name is Rafa Sparza again. We love you guys for being here. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you guys in our comment section. Remember, you guys make up how good the show is. So if it sucks, it's also your fault too. Not really mine. That's what we got for you guys. Let's do it. Jim Miller is a badass. I love this guy. He's been fighting for what feels like an eternity now. So get excited for him and what he is here to do for you guys. What else do I got for this? Sharing on a page. Let's share it on the Verbal Tap page. And let's say, join us right now, fam, as we watch UFC Vegas 3. I would like to say that most fighters seem like they wouldn't be used to fighting in closed areas with nobody watching. But if you know anything about the Miller brothers, you know that they're used to fighting whether people are watching or not. These guys are still amazing fighters. Jim Miller is now 35 fights young in the UFC. He is tied with Donald Cerrone for the most octagon time in terms of fights. So here we go. Miller in the bluish, almost more aqua greenish, and Roberts is in the black. Gets caught on a kick very quickly. Now Miller just trying to act very, very responsibly with it. Now in guard, Roberts is trying to compose Miller. Miller takes a split second. He starts grabbing the back of the neck almost to kind of canter his way through this guard and to try and slice through it ever so slightly. So that is what we have going on so far. Miller already trying to make with the rubber guard over and trying to control a little bit of Miller's right-hand side. Nothing doing. Everything returns back to normal, and it appears that Michael Bisping was trying to talk about side and a little bit of rubber guard. Now instead, Miller has a guillotine opportunity here that he might be able to make some good on. This will be very interesting to see how Roberts responds in a way that I believe Roosevelt Roberts also had his own submission win recently at one of these closed circuit UFC events as well. Miller is in half guard, but he is inching his way up ever so slightly. Now has double unders underneath, while it looks like Roberts is slowly trying to get almost like, I wouldn't say he's at a half guard into a lockdown, but he is slowly starting to get there. Miller does not give a shit, though. If Miller can get that knee out and up and over, he will be into a mount, and it looks ever so slightly like it is coming closer to a reality. That is what's happening over this way. Very excited to see you guys joining us. Please let us know what you think. Give us some questions, comments, concerns, hints, allegations, all of that stuff in the comment section. You guys are who we do this for, and we always appreciate you guys coming in, having fun with us. All right, we continue on as we continue seeing right now. I believe it is Jim Miller who loses position, but may come up with an armbar right here. You better not. Get out. He's not exactly confirmed to get an armbar here, as Roberts almost is positioned perfectly into potentially getting out of it, but it is not out of the woods just yet. It's a little loose. Now Miller is getting the opportunity to recalibrate it. That looks like an armbar that he gets taps in transition as one Roosevelt Roberts was trying to lift him out. Well, that was good. They have one of the fight doctors go up to Jim Miller and they go, we just need to check in. Are you okay? And he just gives them, yeah, I'm all right, man. I'm good. Hey, dude, I just got that armbar. I'm fine, dude. Now he is taking a nice moment to celebrate, and he's throwing some water around in the mouth, looks over, talks to the camera for a split second, and gives a nice hug to his corner man, who is wearing one of the patented well, they're actually re-showing that, but he's wearing a mask at this point. I liked for a split second that Roosevelt Roberts was doing a very good job of trying to offset him with a regard here, but instead he's almost going to be bucked off, almost like you lose control from taking someone's back. And then in that transition, Miller grabs one of the arms. Oh, they just replayed it, and I think I heard some cracks. Hey, and John Anik actually said verbal tap, not verbal submission. Look at that. That's good for us. That's a good SEO night for Verbal Tap the podcast. A lot of times they just say verbal submission, and we know that's bullshit. They usually say it so that we don't get more searches. So, but when they do say it, our traffic goes up. So, yes. What a night. Look at that. That's going great so far. All right. Well, we will be giving out a toast, but I actually want to hear what he has to say before we move on, because Jim Miller is such a vet that he's been around for so long, and he usually gives a pretty good promo on his way out. So I think that's important that we give a quick listen to see what he has to say before we go any further. But just to remind you guys, if you haven't subscribed or liked or follow us, could you go remedy that? Because that would be great. Follow us at Grappling Hour on Twitter, on Twitch, on YouTube, on Periscope, and on Facebook. I don't know exactly where you're watching this. We try to keep up on all the comments that happen on basically every single streaming service. So sometimes we see you, sometimes we don't, but we always love when you guys are around. I'm so sad that some of the guys missed that one. They would have loved that, because it's very rare to see an armbar, but it's also even a little more rare to see an armbar that gets a verbal submission in such a violent way. That was aggressive. They're going to be doing the official decision right now, and we thank you guys for watching us. We love it, and we appreciate it. We'll have some guests on in a little bit, but in the meantime, you've got me, Rafa Esparza, doing the coverage. They're going to go over and make the announcement, which means they'll have to take time to do a selfie and then walk on over. Oh, you're seeing Roosevelt Roberts look at his arm, and that just makes me feel bad for his arm. Yeah, and he's even doing that weird clap that you do when your arm hurts after. So now they are saying that is his 11th time. Jim Miller, indeed. Dane Donovan, what a guy, man. I think we're going to have to pull him on the show. He has the third most wins in UFC history, behind Don Cerrone, Damian Maia, and then it's Jim Miller, who's above Michael Bisping. Ha! Good. And he also now is tied for most submission wins with Royce Gracie in third place, behind Charles Oliveira and Damian Maia. Not a bad series of people to be behind. And if we're being honest, I mean, Damian Maia, man, overlooked consistently for how much great work he's done. All right, Jim Miller's making his way, giving a lot of thumbs up to people that are imaginarily in the crowd. So that's fun to see. They're going to be talking to him, I think, within a second. So thank you guys for watching. We just got a new follower. We appreciate you guys. I can usually see these things. But if you guys give us a like and a share, we will give you a cheers, just like we're about to do to Jim Miller in just a second. So do not go anywhere. Dane, thank you very much for your like. Oh, no. They just showed it again. And I could hear Roosevelt Roberts being hurt as it happened. So that one sucks. Michael Bisping says he never wants to see that again. I don't disagree with him on that one. That one's a yikes. There's a lot of people saying great things about Jim Miller and giving him his props, as they should. This man's a UFC legend, and it's great to see him get a great moment this evening. All right, John Anik should be talking to him shortly. Let's give you a summarization of what he's saying right now. Anik is taking a moment to celebrate being from the East. Nobody cares. Oh. So apparently he was talking with Dana White about the possibility of doing a Fight Island competition, but now Anik's asking, what does it feel like to fight without a crowd? And like I said at the beginning of the show, he was like, dude, I fight anywhere. I mean, obviously the fans are a huge part, but I literally don't mind fighting anywhere and everywhere. He says that when you have the roar of the crowd, you end up getting the people who give you the extra energy. But now they're going to talk through the finish. Lyme disease can't hold Miller down. Not at all, dude. He's beast, dude. Dan Miller famously came on our show a long time ago, and he was amazing. Miller's now talking up Roosevelt Roberts' jiu-jitsu game, and he said, oh, he's going to make a mistake. Yeah. Jim Miller said that once he made the hammer fist to defend, that's when he was able to get the armbar and sneak it back in. Anik's talking up, saying you're in the top element for the UFC. So he's saying in return, I think also to you, Dane, where he's asking about the Lyme disease and how he's able to show like he's fighting like he used to. And Miller is saying that he went through hell and came back and that he feels really good right now. Says everybody has their own things that they're fighting through, and that was his, and that he wants to continue fighting. And even when he's not his best, he still likes to compete. And that he's starting to get his athleticism back. So, that is great. All right, they're closing out with him. Let's go ahead and do a nice little cheers to one Dane Donovan. Dane, thank you so much for sharing that. We appreciate you. You're a good man. We appreciate your love every time that you're doing one of these shares for any one of the shows that we got. So cheers to you first and foremost. All right, this one goes out to you, Jim Miller. Jim, listen, I don't know how we haven't brought you on the show yet. Your brother was amazing. He talks you up. He says you're one of the best interviews. We have to figure this out. We have to get you on the show now because that armbar is one of the sickest things that I've ever seen. Not only was it a verbal submission, aka verbal tap, cheers, but the technique in which you did, it was calm, composed. You took out somebody who has had a very, very, very good upstart in their career. But man, we can't talk enough about you. Breaking records all around. Just such a high appreciation for what you do. Wish you had a crowd there to give you some true love, but instead, we're going to go ahead and give you a cheers as you deserve. Cheers to you on that amazing armbar finish, Jim Miller. I wish nothing else but to also never hear the sound of that arm cracking on the live footage. In fact, I wish that was why the crowd was there. If the crowd was there, I probably wouldn't have heard the arm crack as bad as it did. But instead, it's now ingrained in my earpiece forever and ever. Still dope, but also vomitous. All right, the action continues. We still got 4 more fights, plus we've got Third Coast Grappling, which we're going to be keeping an eye on for, I believe it is Flow Grappling that is airing it this evening. So we're going to be keeping an eye on all the action that happens this evening. We hope that you guys are enjoying the action thus far in. We're doing double duty with both the UFC and Third Coast Grappling. We're just getting started over this way. All right, let me see what I got for you guys in terms of new news or updates that is going on in the world right now. Well, I can tell you this much. Look at quickly on the Instagram. I want to bring this to your attention because we're also going to be back tomorrow doing the Submission Underground 15. But I want to show you specifically what people are thinking is going to transgress tomorrow, because they put up some poll results. And I think these poll results are interesting. Let me go ahead and put that in full frame over this way. So people were asked who they think is going to win in the first round. It is a 59% advantage for the audience who thinks that Colvin is going to beat one Adam Bradley. Meanwhile, you've got Roberto Jimenez at a 64% favorite of yours over 36% for Nathan Orchard. That's an interesting sort of dichotomy here, because Nathan Orchard, I would assume in this rule set, has to be somebody that you can't really overlook. Roberto is hot. He's been crushing it. He has definitely got a lot of momentum going his way. But I think if you're going to make any odds on favorites bets, I would think that that is at least one that you should entertain. Again, I think it's going to be a very fun match either way. Now, if you look a little bit closer here, you've got Fowler at 70% over Brooks. Now, Fowler himself is an ADCC vet. He is a ADCC trials winner out here, and he's a really, really competitive grappler. He's amazing. So I would assume the odds are on favorite for him. This is interesting. Cody Steele also with 63% of the vote over Andy Varela, who also very interesting to watch compete as well. So in terms of how this plays out, I don't know why my thing blurred out. So I'm going to go ahead and take that off then. My apologies. Let's remove that out. That's really weird. Let me go ahead and pull that back in, see if it makes any difference on this. Anyway, those are your preliminary numbers that are going to be for tomorrow's Submission Underground. We will have the full squad returning back with us. Very excited for that. They're also right now vamping and telling you the June 27th card for the UFC. So very excited for that. It's going to be Dustin Poirier versus Dan Hooker. Very, very, very good. Mute. Hey guys, sorry about that. For whatever reason, the camera just blanked out for a split second, but I didn't go anywhere. I hope you didn't either. All right, let's see what you guys are saying in there. Dane Donovan, thank you. No cheers to you, sir. Motivating indeed. Jim Miller he beast. He is a crazy, amazing individual. So we love seeing him do his thing. I'm going to take off the Roosevelt Roberts because coming up next is going to be Lyman Good versus Bilal Muhammad. So get ready for that. What other news and information do I have for you guys? Not much, other than for whatever reason, the backup on this Instagram thing is not working. I have no idea why. It is not letting me show more of the backdrop on this, but we'll look at it a little bit later for those of you guys who are doing it. I don't know. It's never blurred like that before, but I will figure it out. As I also remind you guys, if you don't follow us, do us a solid. Go to Grappling Hour on Twitter, on Twitch, on Facebook, on YouTube, on all of them. We always appreciate when you guys give us some love, and it means the world to us. I promise you that. So get excited, get noted, go follow us on all of the major platforms because, hey, listen, you can go watch a ton of different shows and programs, but it's way better when you guys support us. It makes a huge, huge difference. I'm going to go ahead and put the names of the next couple fights that are coming up next, because later on this evening, we have Raquel Pennington versus Marion Renault. And then, as our co-main event, we have Josh Emmett versus Shane Burgos in the co-main. And then it is top line tonight by Curtis Blades and Alexander Volkov. So that is what we have left on the docket for the UFC card. And then for the Third Coast Grappling, it is the second Kumite. And again, our good friend Jake Watson will be participating in that. So I hope that you guys have a lot. Well, I mean, I hope your streams are all just lined up. I hope you guys are going to be just as excited as we are to watch all of these fights, all of these events, all of this good. Last couple fights plugging in, and then I'll be right back with you guys adding the banners, so that way you know exactly when you show up, exactly what you're watching, because that is important. What other questions can I answer for you while we've got a few minutes? Because it looks like the UFC still has to either do a walkout or have them presented there. But we are apparently back on schedule for the UFCs, because the last fight that they had with Bobby Green and one Clay Guida, it looked like it ran over for a split second. So somehow they managed to let their time slip by them. Let me see. Pulling that down. No beer. I'm helping. Sunday. Yeah, that's fine. I'll yell at you a little bit later for that, Mike. All right. What else do I have for you guys? Well, we should be getting a guest coming on in just a second. We're arranging for them to go and find their way on. And when we do, I think you'll be disappointed. Just kidding. He's a friend of the show. You guys may have seen him on a previous installment of the Grappling Hour. He is a former, I believe, Finishers Midwest winner, and he's also a coach out in the Orange County for one of the 10th planets out that way. I believe it's 10th Planet Fullerton is where you normally see him. All around decent guy, and very excited to see him join us in just a few seconds. But until then, it's also a good time to tell you guys of the stuff that you did miss throughout this evening thus far in. If you're just joining us and you haven't had the chance to go check out fights and you want to go know what to watch, first and foremost, if you're going to watch a decision fight, watch Tisha Torres versus Brianna Van Buren. That's an amazing fight. I really enjoyed that one. If you want to see some great uppercuts, you're going to look at Marc-Andre Berreholt. That was superb. And if you're looking for just some nasty armbar finish, go watch how Jim Miller was able to control and get one of the best verbal taps we've seen in some time with an armbar finish just maybe 20 minutes ago when they do the replays, because those have been some amazing things that we have seen thus far into this evening's broadcast. So that's what I've got for you so far. Again, your questions, your comments, concerns, hints, and allegations, always appreciated. So if you have a beer, feel free to cheers along with us. They're also doing some Masters of their Craft statistical comparisons, Blades and Volkanov. And for Volkov, it says that he's got a 6.19 strikes per minute. And it is over a 82% takedown defense. Meanwhile, Blades is takedowns at almost 6 or 7 per minute. That'll, of course, be the 5-round main event. And Curtis Blades was very clear. This one's not going to be a 5-rounder that you guys can get used to. He's going to be ragdolling his opponent the entire time. So that'll be interesting to see if they actually end up making that one happening. So they're pointing out that Lyman Good lost his dad recently, so that's unfortunate. We feel very bad for him on that. They're saying that he is fighting in his father's honor this evening, which has to make you feel really rough. And I thought that Lyman Good also, unfortunately, had I thought that he recently came down with COVID as well. I'm glad he was able to make a recovery, and I hope that all is good on his side. So just to let you guys know, that's apparently the heaviness that we are coming into this evening. And Bisping is saying, I don't know how you control those emotions, especially as you get into a major fight situation such as this. But we will see how that goes this evening. I'm going to go and make sure we can share the screen. So a little bit later, if we see anything over on the internet or you guys want to throw something our way, you're more than welcome to tell us and fill us in on what is happening. Excellent. It is no longer tiny. So now I've got that going back up for us. I'll call up on the Instagram and I'll show you guys some highlights of what I have seen thus far in terms of our fight night here. But we've already seen some very solid things throughout this evening. I'm also going to be calling up on Flow Grappling and watching that. So if you guys want to know the results of that and you don't have the ability to watch, don't worry. I got you guys covered. I'm doing all fight coverage all night long. That is what we're here for. Because we want you guys to get excited. We want you to enjoy this evening, this telecast, if you would, because it's a good night for grappling and fighting thus far in. Let me see what I got for you guys. Flow Grappling, got to log into them to make sure we are on weight and ready. But let's go and check real quick while they're on commercial, ESPN's MMA site to see if they have any new photos that they've put up in the meantime. Because, my friends, this was yikes. Okay, let's first and foremost show you. This was actually a really solid fight. I'm going to pull this one up just on the smaller side so you guys can see it. I want you to watch Jillian Robertson's easy transition into a rear naked choke over here. Now notice, they're going to do a replay in just a second, but her ability to do it without hooks in is all the more impressive. So first, she kind of almost like waltzes over from one side of the body to the other. So she does it with a good set of control on the neck. When they go back to the replay, watch. Her leg is still entangled. She gets it out, slides it out ever so closely. Then normally you would go for hooks here, but instead she didn't even need it. She had the perfect sort of little control underneath the chin and ends up getting the tap. So props to her for that. Then earlier in this evening, you could also see just like this banger that was happening between Tisa Torres and Brianna Van Buren over here. Now, a lot of people were talking about these kicks, but when she walked in earlier this evening, she was walking in like she had business, like she had vendettas that she needed to take care of this evening. And that is all the more appreciative throughout the way that fight is. So if you're going to watch any of the fights that went to decision this night, and there aren't many, go watch this one because it was a lot of fun. So that's what's transgressed earlier this evening in terms of the highlights. They also just went over, and this is kind of interesting because they're showing that Clay Guida wants to get slapped beforehand, and Bisping apparently on the broadcast said, some people like being slapped. Personally, I slap you back. Whatever you say, Count. So that's been what we've seen a little bit earlier this evening. In case you guys were wondering, we're trying to give you all the highlights, keep you up to date on all the main things that are happening. And I'm also going to look and see if we had any from MMA Junkie, which I think is one of the only folks that have photographs thus far in. But just to give you an idea of the epic legend that is Jim Miller, look at this. Victories. He is now third position, just underneath Donald Cerrone and Damian Maia at 3 with 21 victories in the UFC. And he breaks that tie with John Jones and Michael Bisping. That is an impressive stat for him. So very pleased to see how well he has come along in his time and how he continues to do it. This was the story. Like, I was watching this with Frosto, and I think one of the interesting things about watching Bobby and Clay in this fight was Clay was doing a majority of the offense, and Bobby was sitting really easy, letting him try to do the majority of the work. However, it was still really impressive by Clay, a very, very solid fight from him as well. The reason for the pause is we are actually going over to the next fight in just a second, so I'm going to minimize this as we return back to the center for the matters at hand. And I'm going to take a look and see if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, allegations in the comment section so that I can implement them. Whatever you guys have to say, I try to do my best to integrate, but I'm going to say hello to a few folks who are watching along with us live. You guys mean the world to us, and it certainly is always appreciated. What's up, Vu? What's up, Gabe? Good to see you guys. Remember, if you guys give us a share and a like, we give you a cheers, just like we do all of the fighters who get finishes within regulation. So do not forget that. And if I somehow end up missing you and you're deserved a cheers, do us a solid, send me a DM, slide in there, show me a photo that you did it. I'll believe you. I just need to see the proof, though, because it always helps us. All of your love, all of your likes, all of your shares are the best, and they really, really do help us out. So thank you, guys. All right. They have Chris Tognini coming in here, who looks like he was on the bad side of getting cast as Jonathan Banks' character on Breaking Bad. So you got that going. You've got Josh Lyman with the many tattoos versus one Bilal Muhammad, who is in the green trunks. Just to give you guys a heads up on what's going on. It's 4:50 on my clock right now, and the fight is just beginning. There's a kick by Bilal that gets caught afterwards by Lyman Good, who, if he is fighting for his dad on this one, that's going to be some angry, aggressive unfortunateness that is going to be coming in at the expense of one Bilal Muhammad. Bilal Muhammad reverses position, gets an elbow in. Now you've got Lyman Good, who catches a leg kick. The two of them are exchanging continuously now over here. Now 4:23 left to go in this round. You see Bilal get off a nice straight jab over on Lyman Good. Again to the leg kick on the outside. Now Lyman Good just trying to stalk him down and push him and bully him over to the cage. Nothing happening just yet, per se. I would tell you this. I don't know that I necessarily see Bilal being afraid of Lyman Good, but I think he's at least cautious of the power that Lyman brings to this event. Lyman is very, very, very aggressive in this very first minute of the show. Ooh, nice series there. And it does look a little bit like you're seeing Bilal start to back up ever so slightly at Lyman's power. I think he wants to try and get out of the distance area. Now, Dominic Cruz keeps talking about these shots, and I don't disagree with him, but I do feel like if they are going to happen, he still wants to set them up just to pepper them ever so slightly and a little bit more. You're seeing Muhammad a little bit more on the chase side, whereas Lyman Good is really trying to stalk him down, be assertive, and you will see a barrage. Every time he gets a barrage, it does seem like he lets out a little bit of that emotion that they were talking about with his dad. Unfortunately, his dad passed away just a few weeks ago, so they've been mentioning that on the broadcast. He says he's fighting for his dad. That's a very tough thing to do. And I thought originally he also came down with COVID. He was one of the earliest fighters who ended up getting pulled out of a card. So if you're talking about a number of things that this guy has had to fight with in the past few weeks, just look at all of those different factors and realize, shit, dude, that's a very tough thing to be doing. We're at the halfway point of the very first round. And right now you're seeing continuously, though, a composed, slick Lyman Good, whereas Muhammad in the green has been trying to block, evade, maybe pull out the power a little bit by bit. Nice combination over here by Bilal. And it mostly is credited, and I believe in part to what Dominic Cruz is saying here, that just the switch in stance helped him out just ever so slightly on that one. And I would have to agree. Just switching now, again, his stance as he dances away ever so slightly. And again, Lyman Good not really being that affected by it. He's staying very tight with him. Stalking, gets a nice little jab over on the side. Bilal coming in now, pieces in his timing. He's making it a little bit easier, though, by being so flat-footed, I think, against Lyman Good. The kicks that he's having here would probably be, I think, a smarter idea, a better version of trying to implement some offense. At least it would maybe keep out one Lyman Good ever so slightly from coming on the inside. But every time you see Lyman Good get really close, you see him start to get a little bit more confident. Speaking of confidence, Bilal Muhammad did a great job. He got on the inside, got a couple nods to the chin over on Lyman Good. The two of them still have 55 seconds left to work in this round. And you just get the sense that Lyman Good is just waiting for his shot. And there we go. Now you're seeing Lyman start to act a little bit more with urgency. Now the significant strikes have actually returned. You see Bilal Muhammad is now at 26 over Lyman Good's 16. So at a certain point, you're going to have to figure out, is Lyman going to do what Dominic Cruz is saying in terms of getting a takedown here? And it does look like you're seeing Lyman Good try to finish this out with a stronger statement with this very last few seconds of this first round. This is Muhammad's 20th MMA fight here this evening. We're going to go the distance for this first round, which means we'll be seeing a second one in just a second. All right. Questions, comments, concerns, hints, allegations, hit us up in the comment section. I'll be taking them all evening long. I'm also making sure that we're doing our best to be on top of literally every comment that we can possibly see. Want to say what's up to It's Consumer Life. Cheers to you. We appreciate you. Look at you, Megan Johnson. Listen, this one goes out to Megan Johnson. If there's an MVP of our comment section, it's you. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. I'm just saying I dare someone to show up and support us more than you, because you're the best. Thank you very much, Megan. Oh, it is going great so far. We're going to go to a second round in just a second. Keep us updated. If you guys see stuff happening, I will do my best to implement that into the show. Much love, much appreciation. This fight is going pretty well so far. Bilal Muhammad might have been able to make up some of that shared distance within that last round if they're just going by strikes. But if we're going by the impact of those strikes, I would 100% have to say I still feel the striking power advantage goes to Lyman Good. So there's that. I like this very lackadaisical promotion for UFC Fight Pass. Every week is Fight Week with Fight Pass, unless we don't put it on Fight Pass, and it's on ESPN. Second round starts. Appreciate you guys watching us. Now you're seeing Bilal Muhammad coming in with the kicks. Thank you very much. Creating the distance. He's the one starting off the striking exchanges thus far in. Now you're seeing Lyman Good becoming a little bit more like, all right, what do I need to do with this guy? Now he's starting to feel like he's in this fight, and that's not exactly where you want him to be. I also like that Dominic Cruz called him Bilal. When you have a name like this, I see B first and lol. So tell me I'm wrong. Nice attempt at a takedown from Muhammad, though. I appreciate that. He's backed up Good against the cage. So at this point now, you see Good having to respond with a couple of knees, not really hitting a ton. Shoulder shrugs from Muhammad. Now moved in with the head positioning, gets a good crack as he backs away. The two of them now goes in for a second takedown. You see Good just elevates him right back up to standing. I always feel like there should be more yelling by Dana White when there's no fans there, but I see him just looking at his phone on this one. And yes, I know Dana has a monitor, but he's looking at his phone on this fight. You could see it right from the beginning. All right, I think in this round, though, Bilal is starting to come into his own. There's a timeout right over here. Waiting to hear exactly for what reason. Seems like there was a low blow of a strike. Muhammad. Finger pointed. I would agree. There's a lot of talk on the commentary right now about how Muhammad is switching his stances in between these rounds. And I really think, Josh Sisk, how can I watch UFC? Very simple. Just buy a account for ESPN Plus, or you could very easily just listen to what I'm saying. This is the free version of it. So to you, Jacob Sisk, thank you for watching. But this is the broadcast. This is what we're doing. There you go. Yes, eye poke. Thank you, Chance Snyder. It took me a second to really figure out what it was as I looked down momentarily away from it. I was pulling a Dana White and looking at my phone. What a bitch. Now Bilal coming again. Very nicely here. Might be frustrating Lyman Good a little bit here. Okay. Thus far in, pretty good. Muhammad is doing a better boxing backwards this round. Absolutely. In agreement here. I'm glad we're all seeing things as we're supposed to here on this one. I think it's maybe because Lyman Good is not really adapting a strategy from round to round on this one. I think it's a combination of both, if we're being honest on this one. Let me go ahead and see here. All right, ladies and gents, I told you a little bit earlier we'd have a guest coming in. I'm very excited to bring this gentleman on. He is a coach out of the 10th Planet OC crew. He is a Midwest Finishers sub-only champion, and he's an okay human being. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show for his first time on one of our fight companions, Michael John. Mike John, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good. I hear you, Ralph. Thank you for having me.
Very well. Thank you very much. Are you queued up? Are you watching the fights on your
I am. I'm watching Muhammad versus Good as we are talking.
Great. What is the time on yours right now?
1:08.
Perfect. We are synced up ever so beautifully. Have you been watching the fights thus far in, sir?
I have not. I kind of just tuned in. I was helping a friend move, and now I'm kind of just tuning in right now.
First of all, why are you helping a friend move? That seems like a bad idea.
You know, when you have a truck, you know, you're just the guy.
I used to have a very big car, a very big SUV, and without fail, it was always, "Hey, ref, are you free?" No.
Yeah,
No.
I'm not free. Oh, what weekend? It doesn't matter. I'm not free.
Hey, I will ask one favor of you. Do you mind turning the sound down ever so slightly?
Yes.
On your TV?
Thank you.
Appreciate. No, you're fine. It's just the UFC is kind of a bitch about how they pick up the sound on some of these things.
Oh wow! So they can take you down off that.
Theoretically, yes.
That's crazy.
So usually, I actually have the headphones of the event going on here, so I got one earpiece for that and one earpiece for you. So I usually tend to multitask on this. Yeah, whatever. So here's what I would ask you, sir. If you haven't seen anything here, I'm going to give you some things to look out for. If you get the chance, go back and watch these following fights in order. Number one, go back and watch Jim Miller's armbar, because he got an armbar over Roosevelt Roberts, and it was mwah.
Beautiful.
I would tell you, if you're looking for a decision fight, Tecia Torres versus Brianna Van Buren. Just aggressive, crazy fight, good fight between the two of them. So
okay, actually, I caught a little piece of that. I saw the intro and I saw that Brianna Van Buren was the favorite over Tecia Torres, and I thought that was kind of weird because Torres is, she wins decisions pretty dominantly for the most part. So
the line moved in the first round. So not only was Brianna a favorite going into it, but after the first round, where two judges actually ended up scoring it for Tecia Torres, she ended up becoming a negative 450 favorite going into the second round.
Wow.
And to me, I was like, it's close, but I don't know how you adjust to negative 450 after seeing that round.
Well, I think at the very end, she took her down and she slammed her on her back, remember?
Yes.
Remember that. Maybe
but that was Tecia, I thought, elevating the end, because Brianna was controlling the first 2 minutes of that fight. And then Tecia kind of was like, "Oh, fuck you. I forgot. I came here to do business. So I'd like to murder you if I can." And from that point on, oh my God, dude, just her walkout was just so laser focused. And I was into what she was putting down there. Let me ask this. Is that a cup of Chick-fil-A that I see, sir?
It is, sir. It is. It's a Powerade Chick-fil-A, sir.
Oh, Powerade Chick-fil-A.
No soda, man. No soda, but it's probably just as much sugar. So
the lunch of champions, one might say.
Whenever I've trained more than I've eaten in the day, I usually kind of eat what I want.
Good for you. I saw a little bit of training from you, so I'm glad that you're able to work some of it off.
Oh yeah, I was very fortunate, and I have a very good crew of people around me that we train at their house, so it's good stuff, It's,
look at what's happening on your TV.
Ooh. Dude, honestly, I just want to say I would never want to fight Good. He looks like a Terminator and looks like he's on drugs.
Well, also, I don't know if you picked this up, but they were saying that Lyman Good's dad died. So that this was one of those fights that they dedicated to him, kind of a deal. And more importantly, Lyman Good, if I remember correctly, was one of the first people who caught COVID in the UFC. So he actually ended up getting pulled, I believe, from UFC 249. And then you think about this. Dude gets pulled from a card. His dad dies. So now he's got to be in a space of, I want to fuck you up so bad.
Oh my God, I'm going to win this for my dad. Because he has not taken one step back this entire fight.
No. And I would say this. I thought the first round he looked good. I thought the second round, Muhammad looked a little bit better. This third round, with that crack, it has to be momentum going back into Lyman Good's favor at this point. If he doesn't just get a finish outright here.
Yeah, I would just like to see him snap his punches more. Looks like he's pushing his punches, but he's got a really good lead head kick.
Interesting. Very, very interesting insight. I thought that one thing that they were saying, and I'd love to get your idea on this, is that they were saying that one of the strategies that has worked very well for Muhammad throughout this fight thus far in has been his switch of stances. Have you seen that as well?
Yeah, whenever he kind of goes back and forth, whenever he kind of goes shuffles side to side, he switches from orthodox to southpaw. I heard Bisping mention that, and I do notice that when he's kind of shifting, he's kind of shuffling back and forth. Like, watch, even right now, you're probably switch chances.
And look at this. Right now, the fight is a 69-70 on significant strikes with a slight advantage to Lyman Good. Ooh. We're even to the point where Lyman Good getting a cat paw in, just a swat at him, is good enough to try and make some sort of statistical advantage for him.
Comes down to the numbers in the end, man. It's almost like a basketball. So many points you can score. So many punches.
Hey, listen, dude. I'll tell you this much. I am not a great boxer, but you better believe I would pretend with rabbit punches as much as possible if I was in a good position, just to like look at people and be like, these count, right? These are significant.
Yeah. Just get to like mount and just start raining punches, 30 real quick. They might not actually do damage.
This is great. Look at this, dude. This is the fight I think we were deserved, because at this point, it's not an assurance that you're going to see Lyman Good win. Bilal's making a very good impression here for the last few minutes. The only thing he has to make up for, though, is that knockdown was fairly significant, though.
Yeah. This is good. This is what you want. You want to get on someone's back towards the end of the round and show dominance. Show what would have happened if the round had continued.
Mm-hmm. So this has been telling. How have you felt watching the fights without fans? Have you adjusted to it yet, or does it still feel weird?
I personally like it. I think that we're getting a lot better fights than we were before. I think we're seeing a lot of people's almost like their gym personas come through, kind of thing. Because a lot of people have an issue with the crowds, feeling all energy sometimes. I know a lot of people are the exact opposite. They kind of ride that high and ride that wave out, and what gives them like more powers essentially. But I think a lot of people are it's more comfortable to fight. This is Apex room. I think personally, that's just me though. I've never done it. I'm just assuming.
I was going to say, which would you prefer? Do you prefer a crowd or do you prefer no crowd?
I prefer no crowd personally. The crowd sometimes it clouds my thought process. Sometimes.
Ooh,
look at this.
Ooh.
Oh my God!
It's enough time, dude. It is close, and that's okay enough of a body triangle, dude. You got to be fighting these 2-on-1s way sooner here, my friend.
You've got to almost keep one frame up the entire time. And just
absolutely, especially when you've got 30 seconds left, dude. At that point, just this as a defense is going to at least wreck you out a little bit better.
Yeah. Oh man, or maybe even just 5-0 grip and go.
He's going to survive this though, so credit to him. Nah.
Nothing.
Nah. As someone who's used to this sort of barrage, man, I know how much time I need.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like,
a legit choke.
I'll look at him and be like, listen, you need at least 20 more seconds here, bro. All right. Well, how do you have it scored? How do you see this playing out, sir?
I don't know. That's kind of like you said. Good was ahead on the punches. From what I saw, I would probably give it to Good, honestly.
Okay.
He kept pressure the entire time. I'd give it to Good. He had one fault where he gave up his back towards the end, kind of thing. But I didn't really see too much.
Okay, let me go ahead and I'll tell you in a second. We've got some comments, so I want to address these. These go over to Ben Blankenship that says, "What up, players? I don't know, man. What's up with you, man? Thank you for watching. Appreciate you." And then this comes from Dane Donovan, who says, "Wow, what a fight! No shit, my friend. That was that third round was everything I wanted that fight to be. So I'm very pleased with that." I would tell you this: I feel a slight advantage towards Lyman.
Really? Yeah, I think so too.
I feel like I honestly, because I know Judge, I would say this: I'm actually pretty decent at figuring out what the judges do when they do screw people more than I agree with it. So in this one, I feel like I could see them screwing him over, but I still feel like Lyman Good is going to be able to pull it out.
Think so?
I feel like he's got the better sort of round winning.
Yeah. That, and I think Muhammad needed that back attack way sooner than a minute left in there. He got like 3 minutes in, kind of thing.
I mean, again,
we were both wrong. Well, what? Jeez. Well, I guess. Yeah. Unanimous though? I don't know about unanimous.
Yeah. So let me see here. I don't think he would have won that first round, so I'm going to need to see the judges' scorecard here because we got Dane Donovan saying robbery in there.
There's so many like. I mean, I don't know. Whatever.
All right. Well, I would tell you this. This is why I never dedicate fights to people. Because what are you supposed to be like, Dad? Some judges at home had me ahead. I'm really sorry.
What do you say? What do you say? That means you fought your ass off, kind of thing.
I mean,
it's noble, but it's just kind of too much. It puts a lot of pressure on you too, and something that could be out of your hands.
I mean, the hardest part is to reduce the amount that emotion can take in terms of getting you off your game. So I don't know, man, but I'll tell you this much. I still have a ton of respect for Lyman Good. I thought he fought a great fight. Yeah. I feel like it was one of those weird ones where I could see how he was getting edged on the significant strikes.
Yeah.
But I still don't think I saw one knockdown happen from Muhammad than I did at least from Lyman Good. And I think that's still significant when it's a close fight.
Dude, yeah, look at that. Also, like even just like the unanimous decision, like unanimous, like come on now, like that's just, like he whooped his ass all 3 rounds. Like, and there's got to be a better scoring system implemented for this, or better scoring criteria.
I would tell you this: it always makes me laugh because you get those. It's like the grappling events where you get the one guy who does all the work, and then somebody magically shows up with an overtime submission, and they're just like, "I did it."
Yeah.
I won. Look at, I'm so good. And you're like, I mean, yeah, you're good at overtime.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a game in itself.
Hold on. Oh, I need to get a photo of this because I can pull this in.
Yeah, the stats.
Yep. Because look, okay, so in the first round,
Muhammad outstruck Good.
You outstruck him. In the third round, you had Lyman, so that's not up for debate. The second round is where I thought he got the. No, the third round was where he got the crack. So if that's the case, then you're really judging my basis was Lyman winning 1 and 3.
Yeah, but I mean, what? Yeah. Also,
well, anyway,
sunglasses on.
Well, he's now talking with Anik.
Yeah,
I think you're right on this. The sunglasses do add a certain. He looks like a little bit of an emoji character right now.
I know, like he's too cool.
So are you – is this normally how you watch fights? Do you do some sort of plank as you're watching them because you're just lying down?
Like, no, normally I'd probably watch them as I'm cooking or something or put on my laptop, but I just happen to be helping a buddy out right now, so I'm just laying down in his empty living room.
It's fair. It's very nice of you. Let's ask this. So how has training been going for you? I know that you said you had a couple spots. Is it weird to be getting back to training now? Did you have to make like any adjustments? Because I know you guys were doing a lot of Zooms, and actually I thought of all the gyms, I thought Fullerton was one of the first gyms to implement a good policy for students when COVID hit.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, I've been training this whole time kind of thing. Like I've just been washing my hands like a psycho, just new gear kind of thing, just making sure that the handles and everything are disinfected, cleaning the mask the best that I can kind of thing. But I've been training probably more than I ever have been recently because normally I have to do the day class and the night classes and work at Chili's. But with everything been kind of, shut down, I've just been able to train a lot, kind of just focus on my game a lot. So it's been kind of good. But coming back, we definitely have to make some changes. Definitely have to be more up on our cleanliness and disinfect the handles and take temperatures and just follow certain guidelines to make sure everyone feels safe kind of thing. But I am itching to get back to training. I am itching to get back into a room full of people and just have sweat all over the mess.
Yeah, that's the weirdest part about explaining to people is like, I really wish I could tell you the parts that I miss, but I think we're all unanimous of the parts we don't miss.
Right. Yeah, the warm-ups, for sure. No warm-ups.
So 100%. Like, I don't know how to tell somebody, like, when all we've had is warm-ups to do.
Yeah.
People are like, don't you guys want to do warm-ups? And I go, I didn't do the warm-ups to begin with, period. I don't want to do them
by myself in my room.
That's not how it works, dude.
Yeah. You know, jiu-jitsu is like it's the funnest game in the entire world that we can play. You know, and it's like, and if you stick it out, it's almost like you gain this like superpower.
Let me ask this. So that's how that's been going. That's good. I know
you been training?
Now, here's what I'll tell you. I recently went to do striking because I could first say, before we were starting to see some drops in LA County, I was like, yeah, striking's a little bit better. Yeah. And plus, I know the first thing I have to do is get cardio to a decent place. Like, it's not like I had a great amount of cardio, but like I had enough cardio.
Punching gets you tired, man. It's kind of crazy how tired punching gets you.
But that's the whole thing is I literally tell people, like, I was one of those idiots that said, let me work out before I do jiu-jitsu. And honestly, doing the cardio for boxing before I did jiu-jitsu helped me out a lot. So I
always tell people there's nothing you can do to help you prepare for jiu-jitsu. Just get in the gym and train. There's no like weightlifting, running, or swimming. But boxing, all right, for sure.
The reason why is because at the very least, doing like a heavy cardio on the boxing, it didn't make me better at jiu-jitsu. It just made me feel more comfortable to be in the setting of a jiu-jitsu place. Because when I was doing jiu-jitsu, I started off with 10 Planet warm-ups where they're like, do a cartwheel. And I was like, I didn't do a cartwheel as a kid. Why the fuck am I going to do one now?
Yeah, I'm not going to start now.
Fuck out of here. I'm not doing that shit.
Yeah, and then, part of them is like you do like cartwheels and handstand walks.
Well, handstand walks were a certain amount of hilarious. But I will tell you, having them do that to me from the get-go told me two things. One, this is how 10th Planet rolls. And two, to be prepared to figure out why they're doing that. Because it can't be just no reason. Like, I knew from the get-go, I was like, maybe I should ask them why we're learning this stuff. And that'll teach me more about the process. So I did a couple of that. And then I just recently, within the past week and a half, did a couple rounds. Day one of doing rounds for jiu-jitsu, my body was not good.
Throw up.
No, my body was just sore. It was like, fuck, dude.
Like just physically sore.
Yeah. Although, fun story, everybody taking the time off because of COVID now makes them my speed. So actually, my jiu-jitsu somehow makes me look better because everybody else has had to take the time off. And they're like, oh, I can't just beast out of these things. And I'm like, haha.
Technique.
Welcome to my speed.
I don't know. I still rely on my goonness, you know, that squeeze jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, you know what's funny about your goonness is that I have.
Crazy. I got a lot of people that talk smack on this goonness, you know, this squeeze jitsu. This one of my good friends, Sun Yu, always talking smack on my jiu-jitsu. Says it's all strength based. He's not even helping move, but it's all bullshit.
It is. It's mostly bullshit, is what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, it is for sure bullshit, but it works, you know.
I mean, it's definitely done you well.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to that next level, though. We're really trying to up my always just thinking about the next move in jiu-jitsu. I'm trying to play off my failures and go further and further.
I just laughed at, like, because, you know, there's sometimes when I like to tell people, hey, listen, I don't think you should do that. I think if anybody saw what I would tell you, it's always like, well, you can do that. I'm not going to like you for doing it, but I mean, it clearly has something that it does for you. And I think the hard part is the reason why we tell people not to do it is because they can't control it.
Right.
And so I think part of the problem is you're just somebody who likes to be in that scrap. You like to be in weird scrambles and shit like that. And I feel like you get better at it where most people get inconsistent.
Yeah. I feel like, I've been working a lot on trying to control the scramble and enter and go in and out as I please kind of thing. Because like a lot of people say that my jiu-jitsu is kind of lucky kind of thing. Look, my submissions are lucky, but it's they're all pretty premeditated for the most part. They're all planned out.
Like, listen, dude, I talk a lot of shit to you, but not even I am like, whatever. Did you throw a penny in a fucking fountain to get that one?
Yeah, exactly. It's not. Yeah, I wished for it. No, it's like it's all set up. I promise you. It's all
this
good.
Is so mean. Like I have a certain level of giving you shit that I wouldn't even do that.
I've heard high level guys say this and just
wow.
like let's roll. Let's see what happens.
Hey, you know what, dude? Again, a lot of it comes down to what can you do? Is that your thing? Is that what you specialize in? My thing is always how do you replicate it? So for you, I think that you have an ability to work on the fly and do that. And I think that that's a skill. But if I were to tell you, like, all right, dude, teach me how to do that, you'd be like, Raph, we have to work on some things.
Yeah, I don't know.
Before you could do what I do.
Little speed would help.
But the nice part about it is if you're premeditating it, it means that you build it into a system.
Yeah, no, it's for sure. And then as I'm like teaching more, I'm kind of like learning my own system kind of thing. I'm having to like break everything down and not just like, oh, just do this, just do it. Like it's not hard. It's like, no, how do you do it?
So part of the reason why I like saying, let me see, you're like, oh, I don't know. Some people are giving me mess for being a goon. And I'm like, well, I would just like to, oh, yeah, I know. I would like to point out Exhibit A over here.
The picture?
The picture. I mean, that's a good picture. I don't know where you got it from.
Oh, it's a sick-ass picture.
Oh, I know. My sister took it, so you're welcome.
Oh, dang. Not that one.
No. But I saw this happening before I got here. And I was like, look at you. So this was the training that was happening earlier today?
That's not me, though. Yeah, but yeah.
I know it's not you, but I just, like, all I could hear in my head is, as this is going on, was just thinking you going, like, okay, this is a good time to, like, just jump over and helicopter over into an armbar. You're good.
Easy. Yeah, done. Go for it.
You got this, bro.
Or maybe like a flying omoplata, whatever.
100% would be. But if people are looking, this is where they can find you. So that's a good way to remind people of that.
Thank you for the shout out. Yeah,
making sure we always
profile of guillotines.
We'll come back to that later, but let me see. So that's what you've been doing. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Third Coast Grappling as well. They have some blue belts fighting right now. I don't know either of them, but it's JT Little versus Josh Dawson. So I'm going to keep you guys abreast of that because a little bit later in the evening, they're going to be switching to Zach Edwards versus Justin Renick. And I think that actually has changed because I believe Justin actually pulled out. So Zach Edwards has a different opponent.
Isn't Andrew Tackett a blue belt?
Yeah, but that's not the same.
Yeah, that's no. I saw him go to the finals with Pedro Serrano at the Midwest Finish 55. That's
bro, those kids.
Yeah.
The Tackett brothers are fucking insane, dude. I don't know what to do with that one.
Dude, they're freaks of nature, man. That and like the Kai and Ty Rutola, Cade and Ty Rutola brothers. Those are insane too.
So that's what you've been doing. What have you had more free time? And if you've had more free time, what have you done with that?
I've just been studying more stuff online with more instructionals, and then I've been doing more privates, and I've been training more. I've been trying to eat a little better. I'm actually getting a dog on Monday, a husky. That's always nice.
No shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna name him Helio.
Oh no. Of course you would.
Helio, the master.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's pretty much it for the most part. I have not seen my family in a little bit because of the whole COVID thing. I'm kind of sad about that because my mom's like over 50, has asthma. My grandma's like over 80, and she's just old. So I haven't seen any of them. That part kind of sucks, to be honest with you. But yeah, I've had a lot more free time. Good
for you. I would tell you this: my old man is pretty hilarious because I ended up yelling at him because he went to go golf, and I was like, "Cool story, Dad." And he's like, "What?" And I go, "Dad, you're that age that we're talking about. Like, if I go golf, it's probably just not great, but like I probably could. You go golf, and something happens, some shit might go down.
You might not be doing so well, but
plus he was going with one of his friends that's like a non-believer, and I was like, you stay away from that, George. He's a bad influence on you, Dad.
If he's for sure a non-believer, he's not washing his hands. He's not wearing a face mask.
He's just doing some dumb shit that you're just thinking, yeah, I don't need that. Like there's a higher likelihood he's doing dumb shit. And that's not even knowing. So anyway, that's been the nice reversal of fortune. Are you watching the Submission Underground tomorrow?
I do. I plan on watching that. Actually, one of my teammates, Andy Varela, is in it. And I think Nate Orchard's in it too, but he's not like one of my he's a 10 planet black belt brother, but like I know Andy Varela personally, so I'm definitely.
I was about to say, you have a Mexican family sort of thing with him, where you're like, he's part of the family, but he's a cousin I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, he's out there, and he's in the Seattle chapter, so but I still show him love. He's still one of my favorite grapplers to watch.
Well, it's funny you say that because obviously Frosto is now up there, and you just missed him a little bit earlier. He was actually on right before we cut to the main card, so you guys just crossed paths.
Oh, actually, I got a question. Did you see Frank Camacho fight?
No, I don't think I did.
I think he was on the prelims. I could be wrong. I think it was Frank versus.
Sorry. Yes, sorry. I was thinking of something else. Yes, I did see him fight. What do you want to?
How did it go? I didn't see it.
Well, not well.
Fuck.
Justin James came out and to let you know, Justin's middle name, if I remember correctly, is Guitar Hero. So this motherfucker came out aggressively, really, really cracked him twice with 2 overhand rights, if I'm remembering correctly. And it looked like he might have been able to survive that, but as he got back up, he was a little staggered. And, he was outstanding. And Herb ended up calling the fight.
Damn, that's rough to hear. He also he had trouble making weight. That might have been an issue, too, in terms of, like, kind of coming back to and keeping everything together.
To be honest, I feel like it was a very unconventional, just go and suicide mission sort of approach from his opponent. I feel like Justin really just said, hey, listen, I'm going to make the most out of my time, because if you look at it, it's really just 20 seconds of just go for it. Like literally just try and swarm this guy.
Wow. Marion Renaud is 43 years old.
Yep.
Damn, that's an old lady.
Hey, listen, dude, you gotta make the where you can. These kids are getting younger.
Good for her. It's definitely a young person sport. But yeah, I mean, maybe that one guy going against Frank just kind of like knew he took the fight on the last minute, didn't really have the cardio, and said, you know what, either I'm going down in round 1 and losing in round 2.
I mean, don't get me wrong, he still ended up with like a little bit of a crack over his like on the forehead somewhere.
Yeah,
but he I would tell you this, I think that he made a very strong choice to just try and swarm him, and for a little bit you saw Frank look composed and get some returns on that, but for the whole I was just like, damn, dude, that was a rough one to watch. So yes, that's what happened. But we are now going to, I believe this is Raquel Pennington versus
Tisha's fiance.
Tisha's fiance, indeed.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy to be on the same card, though.
I don't know how they could do that. That'd be super stressful if you're on the same card and you're fighting, not grappling, fighting.
Because, like, it'd be one thing, and especially for Tisha, it worked out just fine, but it was still a close fight. Like, imagine losing and then seeing him backstage and going, good luck. You know, like,
it's almost like it's more energy taxing having to watch their fight and live through that. Also, I want to make an early pick and take Raquel Pennington on this fight personally.
Why is that?
I just think she's nastier and meaner. I think Marion is way more technical, but I don't know. Raquel Pennington, man, she has a way of making it into a dogfight.
Absolutely. And not just making it into a dogfight, but she's somebody who's steady in a dogfight. Like, she's somebody who doesn't get sloppy as it gets a sloppy fight.
Yeah. She like thrives more into it.
Yeah. She has been one of the more interesting cases to watch from her days on from The Ultimate Fighter, because every time I'd be like, damn, her striking looks really good. She get tested a couple times. She have a couple rough fights, but I always have a high amount of respect for her fighting style.
Yeah. It's not an easy fighting style. Just keep going forward. Just take punishment and just be like, no, I'm going to outlast you.
Yeah, damage to you is kind of a hard strategy to implement on this one.
Yeah.
Thus far in, though, you are seeing Renaud being a little bit more of the aggressor to begin with.
Yeah. But Rocky just keeps kind of waiting forward.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that's coming in with a little bit of the experience. Maybe that's her saying, like, all right, I've been here.
Yeah. But, I mean, Marion Renaud fought Holly Holm. She fought Ashley Evans-Smith. I mean, she's got some experience, too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But, like, a little less inconsistent. I think she fought Jermaine Dervander. I could be wrong. But.
We like to refer to that as a name that's essentially, like, half the Jackson family.
Yeah.
Like Jermaine Durandi. Did Michael? Yeah, of course. Everybody knows that fighter. She's great.
And Janet.
Tito. All of them, all in one.
Ooh, good forearm, Rocky.
So let me ask this, Mike, because I've never actually gotten to watch a fight with you in person. Like, what is it that you are looking for in a fight? Like, what is it that you the most excited? Is it good grappling? Is it good striking? Because you've had the benefit of also being a grappler that has fought. So you've had the benefit of being in both worlds.
I like the striking aspect of it. I think it's just awesome. I like to see how people time punches, slip punches, and kind of reach each other's rhythms. You know, you see certain people like snake charmers, and they kind of get you on rhythm, and then they knock you out, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But I also like seeing grappling in MMA too, because grappling in MMA is a little different than just sub-only kind of grappling or sport grappling. With punches, it's almost like it's the most pure form of jiu-jitsu because it's like actual self-defense. You know, like you don't want to pull guard in an MMA fight. I mean, some guys do. I've seen Stefan Struve do it, but for the most part, you know, you want to be on top, passing. You know, like being a submission wrestler.
Did you like that sort of style though? Because I think it actually complements your style very well. You have an aggressive style, but when you get a good position, I'm just grateful you don't have strikes from when I grapple with you. But I've always thought that you would be somebody that thrives in that environment.
I feel like I thrive more in these, like you said, the scrambling environments. I actually wasn't really that good at controlling people when I was fighting, honestly. I'd say the control came kind of after in my brown and brown and black belt days. I was more opportunist, just scrambly. I'm gonna catch it.
That's fair.
But in watching it, I love it all. I love the striking. I love the Muay Thai. I love the grappling. I love the wrestling. It's just great.
I'm always curious because I knew from day one. I was like, listen, I like the boxing to like, you know, jazzercise my fucking way out of being fat. But I'm not going to be the person who's going to sit there and be like, ooh, I'm going to fucking punch somebody and get a submission. Like I do right away. I was like, nah, it's not my bag.
Yeah, no, I've always felt that submissions are more checkmates kind of thing. They're way cleaner kills because some people you can't knock out.
So this is interesting. There was a good elbow by Rocky that almost started giving away a little bit more of her back as she was doing it.
Almost like a duck under an underhook kind of.
Uh-huh. And now you're going to see Renault try to drag her down. I'm wondering if Rocky's able to get – nope. I thought for a split second she was going to try that Kimura over grip, but nope, she's not quite there. And they're just kind of staggering around. 50 seconds left to go in this first round. And it's a very interesting fight thus far in. She's climbing on the inside. She's probably going to try and turn into her if she gets the opportunity. Right. Over so far in, there's been Pennington with 9 head strikes, 12 body, and 2. And at the same point, Renault has a very comparable set of stats on her side right now.
Hold on, my feet just went out. Sorry. I know.
I just like that, you know, Mike, you're just sitting here being like, hey, man, how's this work? Do I press the button?
Yeah, what do I?
Well, you're going to have some time because we're coming up on the clacker, which means we're going to have a minute break for you to go ahead and get your situation figured out. Meanwhile, over on the Third Coast Grappling, they're still with some of the preliminary warm-ups. This is Susanna Morado versus Camille Lopez. It's a 7-minute match for some blue belts, though, which is interesting. I didn't think blue belts would get 7 minutes.
That's good, though. Make them dig deep.
That's fine. I'm just thinking as a producer. And she might be in on an actual – what is this? Yes, she did. She ended up getting this collar choke while from the back. Dope.
Yeah.
Good for her. I would ask this. When's the last time you trained gi, sir?
I think probably a month ago. I did a photo shoot with Vagabond Archives, I think it is.
Okay.
And, they basically just gave us a gi to wear and take pictures in, and we rolled around. It's actually pretty nice.
Okay.
The road was like me, and I don't know if I named the names, but it's a couple of the people rolling around.
You're fine. No one's asking you to divulge anything we don't need to know.
I don't want to be a Karen. You know, they're everywhere.
I just like the fact that I asked you. I was like, when's the last time you rolled gi? And you're like, well, actually, at a photo shoot.
Actually,
I was in the process of just being around and being very important, Raph.
Yeah, just doing my thing. But yeah, gi, it's all fun. I started in the gi. I do love the gi. It's just no gi is just something I compete in more kind of thing. I actually might go to Florida next month for the Zapatero qualifier to try and get in the real one with Keith and Jordan Holy and all them.
That's a good opportunity. I think you really should do that. That's dope, man.
For sure, especially because there's nothing going on in California right now. So
yeah, I mean, you're looking at what they got one competition in like August that they just announced.
Oh, really? Which one is that?
Sorry, I'll tell you in a minute. I think it's the hold on. There's a stop, and I can't tell if she got what the stoppage is for this. I'm going to ask if we've got any of our fans who could fill us in on that one. Megan Johnson agrees with both of us. She says warm-ups are evil. I'm with you guys. Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
They're the fucking worst. Did she get kneed in the – okay. Yep. Yeah. Well, she's going to get, I believe, 5 minutes to go and do that. It says female nut shot is the best way our
yeah, I hear that hurts a lot.
Audience is describing that, which is why we believe our audience is a set of wordsmiths. Thanks, Chance. Appreciate that. What is it? Is it the NABJJF? Is that the one that they do?
So what?
I thought it was the NABJJF that has theirs August.
Oh, that'd be cool. I mean, that'd be awesome.
But yeah, no, you should 100% do the Gamblers one. That's a really good tournament for you.
No, I think so. I think that'd be really good. Just because like that Star Lord or Josh LeDuc, he's a pretty consistent promoter in the grappling scene. It'd be cool for him to know me. Assuming I do well.
He's a dummy.
It'd be really shitty if I just go in there and fucked up the first round. So at least the finals.
No, Josh is actually one of the panelists that's usually on this show, so we're usually very happy to have him do that. Plus, there's also Jiu-Jitsu Woodstock that's happening at the end of next month.
Ooh, yeah, I seen posting about that.
You should look into that, dude. They're going to have a big open tournament, and they're also going to have a pro event. So we can put you in touch with one of our friends, Jordan, who puts that, if you're interested.
Oh, yeah. I would love to. Oh, yeah, Jordan.
Jordan Peitzman.
Yeah, I saw he was at the finishers, too.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'll tell you this much, man. Now, Rocky, if she needed a motivation to get more aggressive and angry, a definite need of the unmentioned,
you know what?
will definitely make you fight a little bit angrier.
But is that even better to fight angry or something? Sometimes I feel like you wait. Ooh, that was a good knee, though.
I think, dude. I mean, I will tell you this. Those were some of her crispest strikes yet. So I can't tell you heads or tails. I like to try and keep people very emotionally contained. But there are some people who just kind of fight better that way. It's hard to delineate sometimes, dude.
Makes it more real to them. I don't know.
You have to do it case by case. Because there are some guys who I will never allow to go that intense if I see them being angry. Right. Was going to tell you. I'm definitely glad that you are in the process of looking at all that. Those are good opportunities for you, sir.
No, for sure. I think so too. And it's also cool just to go travel and go other places, kind of thing. I mean, it's Florida, so I mean, I want to be careful because it's wild out there, from what I understand. It is cool. It's like a 9-hour plane ride. Like, what do we do for 9 hours?
A 9-hour plane ride to Florida?
Yeah.
Oh, you're connecting to a couple places then, yeah?
I think I don't know. I have to look again. I think one of them. I think one of them was maybe in Texas, but
because you're talking about the possibility of the time change with the 9 hours, then, right?
Yeah, it's like a 3-hour time change, I believe. Oh, okay. Rocky is on bottom now. Oh, never mind. Yes. Rocky's on top. I'm stupid.
No, you're right. Rocky's on the bottom. Now she's able to work her way through it. Is going to try and come up on top and play with a little bit of strikes, maybe try and wear down Renaud down. And you're going to see her maybe start to slide in ever so subtly here. Now playing in a little bit from guard, just trying to get those punches in. You're almost seeing Renaud do kind of like a spider guard block with the arm over on her side. Now throwing up a triangle. I can't see if the arm is through it. Just Yes, the arm is through. It is possible, but Rocky does a great job of just pushing it off.
Just doing that posture battle.
Mm-hmm. Interesting to note, I believe that Zach Edwards' opponent might have gotten the submission over on Third Coast Grappling, and they're moving now to Gustavo Batista and versus Tanner Rice coming up over on that side. And I'll keep you guys updated as I see fit.
I know that name, Gustavo Batista. Sounds like
he's a good kid. He's really good at what he does.
That's cool, man. That's cool that there's still have those sports going on. I thought it was awesome that Chael Sonnen's thing kept going throughout the whole COVID, kept having matches. I thought it was awesome. And UFC, obviously, but I think it's more impressive for Chael.
Yeah, I mean, Chael's done it very interestingly. Renault is actually behind on the strikes on these, so Rocky might still be pulling this out. Ooh, now fun exchange. Look at this. I like this fight for the two of them. This has been pretty okay so far.
It's a dog fight.
What's I going to tell you? Yes. Are you already at the clacker? Or are you at the bell?
The bell, yeah. Where you at?
I'm a little bit behind. I had to give up a little bit of the timing because right now I'm seeing Gustavo Batista working on attacking Tanner Rice's legs, which is very interesting to see. Now almost the reverse is happening. Tanner Rice, he's going to give up some points, but is going to have a wrap around the leg probably when they go back, almost like from outside.
Yeah.
There.
My legs are always so funny. Like, what are the submissions you have where like you're so close to subbing somebody's heel, but they can grab yours so easily? Like, legs are so fucking awesome.
Well, don't forget, this is what's happening with them tonight is gi. No, Tanner, you did not have those grips. That is not what was happening, but sure, okay. And Tanner now trying to use an outside triangle wrapped around the leg to maybe disorient Gustavo Batista, but Gustavo now is ahead 2-0 on the points, which if you know anything about gi, yeah, it's a little bit like he's now trying to use the lapel to go and kind of keep him tied to him here. So this will be good at kind of keeping the position consistent. And you're seeing Tanner trying to pummel out the leg to come up and loosen the leg. Now we're back on over on the UFC. And
yeah, I think I'm like 10 seconds ahead of you. Let me pause this.
I think you are. That's fine.
Oh, thank
you. So are you feeling pretty good about your pick so far?
Yeah. Not good. Sorry.
What are you eating now?
A cookie.
I like that we spend all this time talking about, Raph, I had a Powerade, some cookie. This fight companion is brought to you by sugar.
And Chick-fil-A. Yeah, dude.
Chick-fil-A.
What else is a 29-year-old man eat? Sugar.
When does the big 30 happen, Mike?
September 12th. I'm scared.
I don't have to be scared. I'm already old. I have no inclinations about being old.
I'm scared for me, right? I'm making this about me, yo. I'm
Why are you scared?
I'm gonna be 30, man. Old.
Some of your best friends are at 30, dude.
Level 30. Jesus.
Plus, that means you're master's division now.
Fuck that. I'm doing adult. I'm not doing the masters.
No. Don't mock it till you try it, my friend. I'm pretty sure you get one note of beating the fuck out of some old people because you're at the low master's angle and they go in 5-year increments.
So there'll still be someone my age then.
Yeah, but you're going to be the lowest age.
Yeah.
Rocky piecing up here right now.
Yeah. Dude, I think this is vintage Rocky, man. She keeps coming until you just don't want to be in there anymore.
Yeah. Just a consistent amount of swarm.
But Marion's doing good.
Well, if this goes all the way to the distance, I think that Rocky looks pretty good for your pick.
I think so too. And she was the favorite, right?
I believe she was, yes.
Yeah. She's had way more experience, way nastier. Probably gets more training into home because she's married to Tisha Torres.
When you talk about favorites, are you somebody who bets? Do you look at the betting lines?
I do sometimes not because I make bets or anything, but I'm just curious. Like, what I think compared to what some of the betting line is. And I was like, what the fuck? Like the Tisha Torres versus Van Buren match. I was like, what do you mean she's not the favorite? This is ridiculous. Sometimes I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Just to fill you guys in right now, Gustavo Batista has come up on 2 more, so it's 4-2 for Tanner Rice, and now he's actively looking to pass Tanner Rice's guards, and it does look like he has established position, so there should be some points for passing if they do that sort of a thing. There's a knee on belly. He may be transitioning over to a full guard at this point, or to mount. I'm sorry. Now, as we come back over to the fights, 2:14 left to go in the UFC, and you are seeing Brunel still being dirty in there. She tried to reverse the grips as well. The two of them are now back to standing. Comes in with a combination of her own rocket returns, doesn't hit anything, now is starting to connect, and looking for a takedown as an extra bonus.
Getting elbowed for her troubles.
Absolutely. That's my whole thing is I already suck at takedowns to begin with, but you add in somebody's elbows, and I just get angry.
Some of those look like they're directly to the back of the head, too. I remember the first time I saw it was Travis Brown versus Josh Barnett, and I was like, that was directly to the back of the head. No one said shit. Josh Barnett got TKO'd, and I was like, what the fuck?
Fun story. I was covering that fight live, so we went in the press room backstage, and we were all kind of concerned about Barnett. We were just like, ugh.
Just all to the back of the head. Just terrible.
Like, the other thing I think that you have to figure from the ref and the fighting position is once someone gets knocked out, like, what are you supposed to do? Like, if they get knocked out and there was like a legal strike or two, you just can't be like, hey, get up. You're still in the fight. It's
like, yeah. But I mean, even like Matt Hamill versus John Jones, like Matt Hamill didn't get knocked out, but he got fucked up pretty bad. And they still like raised his hand at the end like he won something.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I won like that over John Jones, you better believe that would be the lead on every one of my posters. Be like,
every seminar, former John Jones only lost Mike. At my school name, ooh, Rocky, so mean.
I know, dude. But this is that good pressure, man. This is that good pressure into making the best out of your situation and saying, like, all right, now once I release, boom.
Yeah. She looked at the clock a lot, though.
I want to give a shout out to one Marty Robles. Thank you very much for watching. Appreciate you guys.
Hi, Marty. Ooh. Yeah, I'm pretty confident with the Rocky pick, but I don't know, man. I was also confident with Chito Vera versus Young Sadong, and they gave it a Sadong. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that one I actually had a feeling they were going to screw him. I thought they would screw him. I had a feeling. I actually, in my personal opinion, had scored it more for Rivera, but I also could say with full certainty that the refs were going to see it my way. I just was like, something's silly.
I'm a little more personal because I work with them. I train them sometimes. So I was like, oh, highway robbery. But I was like,
well, I will say this is we do our best to try and have very little putting ourselves in there with the people we know. Like the most that we do on our show is if we know 2 people who are fighting, we just play Switzerland, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm not.
Yeah.
Like tomorrow, Roberto Jimenez is Nathan Orchard first round. I look at that match and I think to myself, shit, Roberto's got the fucking momentum. But in this rule set, I kind of like Orchard better.
Doesn't he have momentum? Didn't Pedro Mariano get him on the Jits King last weekend?
He did, but do you think that you're going to see Orchard try and go for a leg lock?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you think that you're going to see Orchard go for a leg lock on him?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't think so? I saw Orchard pull some ankle locks to ADCC trials.
Not saying he can't. I'm saying will he? Because the strangest thing that is the X factor for Orchard is he goes for whatever he's feeling.
Yeah,
and that is
I love that about him too.
Well, it's what makes his warrior spirit so lovable, dude. But it's what makes a betting line very inconsistent for him. So we're getting a result,
and it's
29-28. And you got unanimous decision for one Rocky Pennington.
Ooh, feeling good there. All right, Raph, I got to call it. I'm going to get back to helping these guys move.
Fair enough, my man. Thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate you. Love you coming in and then chatting some jiu-jitsu with us, and I hope all things are going well for you, bud.
Thank you, sir. You too, brother. We got to train sometime soon.
Absolutely, dude. I'm so down because I'm still waiting to go back to work. So I need to get my training in.
Let's do it, brother. Be safe and thank you for having me.
Later, bud.
Bye.
All right. Our thanks to one Mike John for coming in. We continue our coverage over this way. Just to fill in on what's happening right now on Third Coast Grappling, you got Gustavo Batista, who is going to advance over Tanner Rice. So Tanner Rice, I believe they had is it the first to a 10 rule or 11 rule? But they stopped it at that point. I didn't see if there was a submission, but you did see the advancement by one Gustavo Batista. So just to fill you in on what's happening there, we are doing our best to keep you abreast of all things that are going on. My appreciation to everybody who has shown up thus far in. We are having a great night of fight coverage. And so far, so good. Let me see here. I got to go ahead and tell you guys a couple other things that are happening right now. That was a great fight. Tisha Torres and Renau. That was a good fight, man. And Tisha Torres, I'm sorry, not Tisha Torres. Raquel Pennington. Pennington was ahead on the distance strikes, the significant clinch, the body strikes, control time as well. Renau just looked like she was eating most of it and not looking the worst every single moment of the fight, which is a skill into itself. So just to fill y'all in on all that. Now we're talking to Raquel Pennington. I'll give you a summarization of what they're saying, while I'm also keeping an eye on what's happening over on the Third Coast Grappling. Raquel Pennington is saying that she really needed the reset that actually came as a result of COVID-19, and obviously coronavirus has been a terrible time for a number of people, but the reset has helped her get focused and re-strategize. Apparently, Bisping was saying that both of them got wins, so Anik is relaying the message and saying, hey, listen, we might have to consider you guys fighting on the same card in the future. And she's given a nice shout out to all the fathers and the moms. So that'll upset some of you guys who feel triggered by such wording. Awesome. Ooh, there is a nice reverse triangle that's being put on by one, I think, Butler. I'll have to look back here and see exactly how that's playing down. So we are making our way through Third Coast Grappling. Coming up is going to be Philippe Andrew versus Jake Watson coming up next. So just in case you guys were wondering, friend of the show, Jake Watson, is coming up very soon. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. And you're seeing, I believe, her opponent doing a good job of just trying to stay composed, not letting the reverse triangle affect her too much. Meanwhile, they're reminding you guys that tomorrow Submission Underground 15 is going to be on UFC Fight Pass. We will be doing another one of these for that, so be sure to be on this. Now she's reversing the triangle just enough, and she actually ends up losing it. Her opponent now is up on top, and I don't know if that's going to end up being, yes, it is, 2 points for her opponent, which is unfortunate considering the submission attempt. So that's where we run into weird things. Let me see here. Joe Bade, GF, says, what's your pick for the co-main? Paul from Melbourne. Thank you very much for the question. Let me go ahead and see who I got for you on this one. This one, I would say this. I honestly haven't thought a ton of who I have on this one. So you're talking about Josh Emmett versus Shane Burgos. And on this one, that's a great question, man. I'm going to give you an answer here. I'm going to give you an answer as soon as I can convince myself one way or another. Just based on all of this, Shane Burgos probably has the momentum. Josh Emmett, maybe just a little bit older. That's a great question. You know what? I'm just going to take a stand because I'm going to just nut up and say one of them. Let's say Shane. What do you got, man? You tell me. Batista was first to 10. Thank you very much, Megan. I appreciate that. I still think that's a weird rule. It makes me feel like you hit craps in Vegas or something, you know? And then, of course, we are still seeing things go on over on Third Coast Grappling. They're on a commercial on the UFC. When they return, they're going to have another fight for you coming up next. They're in the process of showing you some behind-the-scenes mentions, which I believe, we're actually at the co-main event. My apologies. That's why you were asking who I have in this next fight. This fight has been going, this evening has been going very fast. So appreciate both of you. Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Joe. If you guys want to do us a solid, if you want to like and share this broadcast, we will give you a cheers, just like we cheers all of those fighters who get finishes within regulation. And I got to be honest with you, I'm not going to give a cheers to Batista, not yet, because that didn't feel like a finish. 10 points is not really what my jam is, but you won, so you don't really need my validation. So who cares? Crane is already up to 10 points right now, which I can't tell if that is just in the element of submissions or for the tournament, but she is now 10-0 against Butler. So Crane is doing a really good job of being composed. There's 2 minutes left on this fight, or this match, if you would. And she is in mount. She's got a gift wrap here. And I would venture a bet that she probably wants to get her on her side and start transitioning to taking the back. And Butler is not really being a cooperative opponent here. And that turns now comes back into guard. So it'll be interesting to see if she's able to go ahead and get any points for coming back up, if she's able to break that guard in a second. But instead, now you see a very composed Crane, relaxing, brushing some hair out of her face, and working from the guard. So that's what we got going on Third Coast Grappling, just so I can make you guys aware of all the fight coverage you are fit to get, and some you're even not. Let me go ahead and see if I can fill you in on what is happening now that they've transitioned into their own series of guard attacks. Just to remind you guys, Alexander Volkanovski would actually be a really good fight to watch with Triple C, but he's busy being retired. So what are you going to do? Or retired. Probably waiting for that much nicer payday. So waiting to see how that one plays out. Not waiting to see how you guys play out, because we are appreciating every second of you guys watching along with us, playing along, showing us some love, giving us some questions, comments, hints, concerns, allegations, all of the stuff that help to pass the time here by on these fight companions. I have a small buffer issue on my Third Coast Grappling. We'll take care of that shortly, and then I'll get more information to you as it becomes readily available. But I'm going to take a look to see if you guys have any questions or notes in in our comment section, and where we've got all of you guys chiming in. Anyway, Paul from Melbourne, I still have not heard your pick. I gave you my pick. I'd love to hear yours as we proceed. Here we go. Boom. Kumite 2. I still love their branding for it. Kumite. This one's going to be wild. I think Flow Grappling just has so many events. They're running out of shit to say. So we do have a finalized version of this. As you see over on the side, are they going to an overtime, or what are they doing? What's up, Ashley? Good to see you. So it's 5 minutes of overtime with a golden score opportunity over this way. Crane is getting instructions from her coach, and I believe they're going to pull back over and bring Tiffany Butler back to the center of the mat as well, as we continue to wait for all the things to take place. Ooh, that's a nice overhand, though. I like this. All right, 4 minutes, 50 seconds in the overtime section. Golden score, so we're just looking at whoever is going to be able to pull off their game, implement it very quickly. Let's see who is able to take it. And I do believe this is a pass. So this should be Crane's to lose at this point. You're seeing Butler trying to scramble out of it, but this is enough control for my liking at this point. No? Okay, well, I guess she still hasn't firmly established. And props to Butler for doing a great job of still trying to stay within the fight. I think if Crane is able to hold on the hips and slowly transition around to the back, she should be good. And now she made it to almost that north-south position. Butler trying to scramble on out of it. Crane now putting the back of her chest up against the back of Butler's back. Great scrap over on their side. Let's see what you guys have to say about this sort of a thing. I'm checking in on you. And coming up next is going to be Josh Emmett versus Shane Burgos, and very excited about that match. So if you guys need a second to go get some water or something, go do that. But come right back because we've got way more show for you guys to get excited about. Let's see if there's any movement over on this side. To her credit, Butler is doing a great job of still trying to attack the leg here. Still in this, so we're just waiting on some final words to see how these final seconds play on this Third Coast grappling super fight that is happening in between their giant gi kumite. That'll be very fun. And again, after this match, we do, I believe, have, let me just double check, Philippe Andrew versus panelist and friend of the show, Jake Watson. So we're about 3 minutes plus on out from seeing that transgress. And I want to say thank you to everybody who's watching on Periscope. Y'all are very nice. Y'all sneak up on us. Sometimes we don't even see y'all, but we do our best to try and keep up to who's watching, how they're watching, and what they want to see. So feel free to hit us up in the comment section because we love you guys as well. We don't forget about you guys. This is a fun event to be watching, both the UFC, also the Kumite 2. And now you have Crane kind of in a weird half guard pendulum-like position for Butler to just kind of launch her. And now Butler's going again with this kind of weird, what my friend calls the beefcake guard, and is going to start attacking a footlock over here. I think they might have told her maybe no toe holds. I can't tell if they're old enough. No, just going to try and bend the foot, pushing it back up against. You see Crane just kind of moving the leg around and against. This is a tough position to be in, especially if they're clamping around and compressing your midsection or your ribs. This feels really bad to let you guys know that. I think in some rule sets it's actually considered illegal. So, just letting you guys know. Yikes. 141 in that position does not make me feel super great, but it is what it is. And it does look like when we come back, which should be shortly for the UFC, we should be seeing, let me see, our co-main event. So there you go, Josh Emmett, Shane Burgos, coming up very, very shortly. 1 minute 25 left to go here in the Kumite super fight with Butler and Crane. And Butler trying to grab the leg to maybe use it as extra momentum to push her around and again. But still, this beefcake-like position is just... It's a difficult place to be in, and now she's closer on a toe hold if she is able to do that. I just don't know that they have that allowed for her, which is insane because if you're taking the compression around your ribs on this move, you actually almost hope the toe hold happens because it's way less pain comparatively. It's the one you tap to, but it's the one you're like, Jesus Christ, I'll take the worst of the two to go ahead and come off of. Josh Emmett has already made his way out. He's got tied for the second most knockdowns in featherweight history at 8. He has the highest striking defense in UFC featherweight history at 72%, and the smallest amount of bottom position time in UFC featherweight history at 9 seconds. Who the fuck has 9 seconds of being underneath for any position in the UFC? That's impressive. So that's very dope to see. And just to let you know, we're coming up on 13 seconds. If there is no golden score, that means we're going to have to figure out how that's going to play. So Shane Burgos, he has a 3-fight win streak. He is the 4th highest striking rate in UFC history, 7.09 per minute, and the 6th highest striking accuracy in UFC featherweight history at 50.3%. That's a very good set of stats that match up between the two of them. We are now to introductions, and we are now at awarding a winner, which is going to be Crane. And that is one Jesse Crane. Congratulations to you. You were relentless in the amount of time you were putting things on. And we see one Ryan McGuire coming out with his Hawaiian shirt looking like he's on vacation. So good for him? Question mark. I like that he continuously comes over. All of these guys in their shirt apparel look kind of like they are auditioning to be on the Abercrombie Fitch crew of bros. So that's what's happening on Third Coast, and that seems like Haltig is going to go do commentary with them because he probably wants to comment on Jake Watson's match because he knows that it's going to have fire in it. So Julian Marquez says 2 scary technical power punchers in the featherweight division are about to be up. Co-main event. Who you got and how's it ending? Well, I answered that. I've yet to hear from Paul from Melbourne. Been waiting for him. Don't see him chiming in. Paul from Melbourne. Just kidding, dude. I agree with the shirts on Third Coast. I mean, I think it's a choice. It's just weird. Like, you ever know when there's like a inside joke that you look at the guys and you say, it's probably not that funny. It's not as funny as you guys think it is. So if it's an inside joke, if it's not and they just happen to do it, listen, I get it. You guys want to do cosplay of the movie Neighbors, but none of you is a Seth Rogen, so just saying. All right, fight starting over at the Apex Center right now. UFC, very excited for this co-main event, except for you, Paul from Melbourne. Jesus, couldn't give us a fight pick before this starts, but here we are now, top of the rounds, and I'm going to keep you guys up to date. We see the walkouts going on with Padilla and one Jake Watson, who nope, not yet. Just yet, but they should be walking out shortly. Nice little flick kick by Burgos, a kick by Emmett on the outside. Emmett is going to be in the black trunks, and you're going to see Burgos in the white. Already looks like power in there, and did he just grab his shoulder for just, or not his shoulder, but his shin for just a split second here? Interesting to see. Ooh, nice crack over by Emmett. Burgos standing his ground, though. Interesting space that is happening for one Burgos. I think that last amount of distance that he had was what kept him from getting caught in a way that looks oof. Blocking these punches, and again, right now, Jake Watson putting on the anklet, so we will see the two of them meet up in the center. Nice crack by one Josh Emmett, who is looking very clean. Goes for a kick. Burgos is eating these. I can't imagine well, but I mean, at the very least, he's not looking very, very disrupted by any part of this. Jake Watson in on a footlock to begin with against Andrew, though, has a good grip, and now the two of them are exchanging in almost a 50-50 kind of like position. So here we go. This is super cool. I'm enjoying all of these fights happening in front of my face. This is great. Burgos still trying to command the center of the octagon, now pushing up Emmett, who I think may be looking to almost counter here. Nice outside or inside leg kick over here by Emmett. Connects again on there, on the button, gets a kick to the midsection. The two of them are stood up over on one Third Coast Grappling. So now with 6:15 left to go, they both pull guard. It's a double pull, and now, as you see in the UFC, it's a very interesting dichotomy between these two. I know there was credit to two of them being very technical strikers, and I think you already see Burgos getting a little red on the top of his face. Yeah, I think he's got a little bit of a cut closer to the right-hand top part of his forehead. Nice inside kick over by Burgos after he connected on a couple of those. Not super impactful, but enough that it made a little bit of a concern for Josh Emmett. Now Josh Emmett just looks like he is coming viciously with the strikes. I need to talk to my striking coach and tell him to make me look like this. That looks beautiful. Oh, even when he looked like he was falling on that one, Emmett connects directly on the chin. And now, I mean, Anik is saying the same thing I'm saying. He's got quite a chin on him. Meanwhile, Emmett, I don't know. This is where the money is coming in. Looking at Burgos coming in with these leg kicks on Emmett, it's making it harder for him to plant. And I think that's a huge strategy. It's going to pay off for him, considering how much power it looks like Emmett continuously is placing in each one of his strikes. This is a very, very important thing that he is doing here that I have a high appreciation for. So keep a line out for what's happening over here. Meanwhile, Watson playing from underneath, has good grips. Now coming up on top, may have a foot to go and play with, but instead might be content to just sift it out. Now has him in guard. Almost look for a sweep for a split second, goes underneath the leg. Isn't quite there to fully get it. It does look like Andrew is picking him up for a split second, though. Jake now climbs underneath, had the ability to maybe sweep him out, doesn't quite get it out there that way. Now coming back to the UFC, you're looking at the ability of one Josh Emmett to just eat some of these kicks, and now a great little punch to the breadbasket from one Shane Burgos. Comes in with the crack of his own, now has to retreat. The two-head movement here, this is going to be something interesting to watch. I think back in the future, I'm going to like watching this one back. Nice crack, overhand right, kick over from Burgos to try and trip him up. The two of them are both hitting big kind of shots here. And it does look like every time you see Emmett coming with a power punch that does disrupt Burgos, you see Burgos return in kind with a leg kick that does seem to take out the balance. I'm very, very much enjoying this one. Talk about technique at its highest. This is super fun to see. Enjoying this, a lot of cracks still going on. 30 seconds left in this first round. We are likely going to see a second just based on the amount of chin and resilience I have seen from one Shane Burgos. And at the same time, looking at how Josh Emmett is just coming in, goes in for a single leg, has him pressed up against the cage, gets some punches. There's some clacks on that. This might be very, very important for the referees to see, or not the referees, the judges. Ooh, beautiful crack. As you saw on a kick, Shane Burgos tried to go high, and then you saw Josh Emmett just connect to the face. Now, again, coming back on over to the Third Coast Grappling, just to fill you in, it is 3 minutes left to go, 0-0, tie score. It is interesting to see how the grips for Jake Watson have been very, very impactful here. And you're seeing Philippe Andrew do his best to try and break some of those grips. Not quite as succeeding just yet, but props to our man, Jake Watson, for being able to keep that grip for that long. I wish I could. How'd you guys score that round in case you're watching at home for the UFC? I'd love to hear, especially you, Paul, from Melbourne. Jesus. All right. Jake Watson, 2:22 left to go here on this one. I understand what Jake is going for here, and I think that I would like to see him try and go for a sweep here because I don't necessarily want to see him in an overtime golden score round. Yeah. Okay, so now apparently Josh Emmett's corner was made aware that his leg no feel good. So Burgos is probably going to need to chip away at that. And I love the fact that you had Josh Emmett tell his corner, hey, I don't think my leg looks good. And according to Anik, they go, we are aware of the situation. So cool story, bro. And you're going to see, I think, Burgos probably start to double down on these leg kicks, especially with the effectiveness. There's another one on the outside there. It looks very nice, very calculated again, coming in. I think he knows that he's probably tripped up because that very first sign happened almost within a few seconds. Now, Emmett putting it together, and you see Burgos almost just push him away. Meanwhile, 1 minute left to go over on Third Coast Grappling. It's getting close over for one Jake Watson. I don't know how this is going to play out. Jake now is going over to reverse De La Riva. Meanwhile, back at the UFC, both of them split a crack. I would almost say that Emmett got the better of those two cracks. However, he's now starting to look a little bit like a busted-ass Voldemort. Nice head kick by Josh Emmett. His corner is starting to come alive as they're starting to cheer him on. A lot of these punches are looking real solid, real nice. Just to fill you in, Philippe Andrew does look like he has points scored on one Jake Watson, establishes full side control, and now I think that's going to be the name of the game as there's 20 seconds left to go. Returning back to the UFC, you're seeing Burgos miss with a couple of shots. However, it pops over on the chin for one Josh Emmett. Continues to stalk him down, move over, kicks over as he takes one on the chin, no problem. Now you're seeing Burgos try to kick up with a high kick, misses, but I think he's feeling very confident in terms of what he needs to do to be able to put him away here. Puts him, punch, nice there, not quite. Oh, beautiful fake. Now you're starting to see Burgos' hands start to come down. The mouthpiece is out, and you're seeing Josh Emmett. He takes a second, says, put your fucking mouthpiece back in, and he gives him a second. So that's looking really interesting. Just to fill you in, Philippe Andrew is no. We're going to overtime. Did they award points that they weren't supposed to? The fuck even is that? All right, listen, I'll come back to talking about that in a second because that doesn't make any sense. Now you see Jake Watson pull him back up, almost gets swept with one of those waiter sweep kind of nice things. Meanwhile, 2:16 left to go with one Josh Emmett and Shane Burgos. I'm just wondering what this output is going to look like in round 3 because, y'all, I'm getting tired just looking at the two of these guys. So much studied tape here, so much to watch in terms of how they're piecing together their very interesting and different games. Meanwhile, you're seeing in a guard, you're seeing the ability of one Philippe Andrew trying to attack Jake's legs, and maybe Jake's able to crab ride and is able to get the back. Great job, Jake. He's going to be able to start attacking the back. Might be on the golden score. If he comes up, he is in the mount. This should be enough for Jake to go ahead and get it. Nope. Philippe Andrew is still maneuvering and moving. However, this bodes very well for young Jake Watson, who may be able to pull out the golden point here. 1:15 left to go over on the UFC. You are seeing a delineation between two people who are tired as fuck, and their output has still been consistent and fun to watch. You're seeing Shane Burgos' hair come out of that ponytail ever so slightly as he's still trying to keep his movement solid in there. I almost choked on my goddamn self from speaking on too fast. I got to cool it down with some beer. Jake Watson, you got me too excited, buddy. Nice combination over here by Burgos, pushing Emmett, who's probably just kind of wait his time. Ooh, up top, though. Philippe Andrew almost comes up on top. Jake might be able to start working on a leg attack here. He might be on a knee bar, which is good to see. Now you're starting to see Emmett being a little sloppier. However, he's still ahead on percentage of accuracy at 55% to 52 for Burgos. Yeah, I'm with you, Dominic Clark, or Dominic Cruz, in saying, yes, this fight is awesome. 2:29 left to go. No! You're seeing Philippe Andrew, who is going to get the side control established and is going to advance. Well, that was fun to watch. Props to Jake Watson. Props to Philippe Andrew. That overtime was a lot of fun. And Jake is now signaling for the audience to give them more applause because, let me see here. Josh, Shane, let me see here. Josh, it was 3-0 for Andrew. He has to keep kicking that leg. So, Andre, yes, I'm with you. He really does need to keep kicking that leg, especially how close this is going. Woo! It was 3-0 for Andrew, and then it just wasn't. Like, I still don't get that. So it was a fun match to watch. Good for them. Yeah, that's what it is. They remind me kind of like characters in a pro wrestling setting. And the one highlight of the hair, one of the commentators has like a rogue streak in his hair, you know, where it's that one silver streak in there. Anyway, I'm going to share this on my page. If you guys do us a solid and give us a like and a share, I'm doing double duty here. We will give you a cheers on the air. So do us a solid. If I miss it, go ahead and send it to me. This fight has been everything I've wanted it to be thus far in. So you are seeing a crazy fun fight between Burgos and one Josh Emmett. So I'm quite entertained thus far in. All right. What else do I have for you guys? This is consistently being something, and I'm starting to see the very beginnings of Shane starting to be a little stagger. Ooh! Emmett cracks him. It is 4:18 left to go. Now he's working from guard, and Emmett is feeling really good. Now you're seeing Burgos having to work from his guard, and I don't love how he's starting to act in this place. He's starting to like almost pat him on the side, which is not quite the striking clinic that he was doing from standing up. We're here for both UFC Vegas. I like that Bisping just told him to try for an armbar, and I'm like, bro, if you are going to, that's just something you do. It's not something you need somebody to be like, hey, you should go for an armbar, because the times somebody mentions it to you, it just never fucking happens. Ooh, Emmett's feeling really good right now. The momentum is swinging in his direction. Emmett might be able to pull this entire win out if he doesn't get the win outright with a knockout, because Burgos is looking a little sloppier. He's not connecting as much. Believe there was a low kick into the midsection of the nether regions, so they're giving out time to both fighters to kind of recover. Though I will say now, just as Dom is pulling out what I wanted to mention, which is, is that going to give Burgos some well-needed time to recover at a time that is super crucial? Oh, yikes. Meanwhile, we move on to the next match over on Third Coast Grappling. So very excited that you guys are joining us for both of these events. We're having a blast thus far in. It is Evangelista versus Victor Hugo that is coming up next. So that is how we're going. There's about an hour and a half left here still for us to watch on Third Coast Grappling. And you're seeing Josh Emmett now starting to really take his time to get back while we are on this timeout right now. I don't blame him, because he is taking some of these very deep breaths. Let me see here. Oh no, Burgos gave up his reach trying to follow Shane. Oof. Yeah, I mean, Andre, I would tell you this, buddy. It's interesting. I don't like the fact that this happened. Let me see. Punch connects. Oh, it's like a backhand that set up nicely there. Then okay. They're going to wait. A little bit of a warning, not really much to see here. Going back to the UFC, and you're seeing renewed Burgos with the amount of time that he has had to recuperate. Now you're seeing Emmett return with a kick. Both of them are blocked. The two of them are kind of feeling each other out again. Now we're getting into the heavy cracks. This is 3 minutes left to go. Both of these guys desperately want this win. This is already fight of the night if we have not said that or made it mentioned enough. Burgos now going back to the kick on the leg. I think we're all hoping that if he's going to be the guy that we want to pull out, that leg is going to be critical to continually make life difficult for one Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett has been so good at this overhand right. I can't speak enough about it. He has found it while he looked like he has been falling multiple times. He has found it again. This time it was the opposite. It's the left. He cracks him down again, and once again is pulled into Shane Burgos's guard. And now he's just starting to rain down punches, and you're seeing Burgos get incredibly bloodied right now. His mouth is starting to look like it's bleeding from the inside. Meanwhile, stop punching me with your elbow, please, sir. That looks terrible. 2 minutes are left to go in this fight still. So now you're seeing both of them start to get a little tired, understandably so. And you see Burgos pushes Emmett all the way off. I think that Emmett is going to be your early favorite to win this fight. These knockdowns have been significant. So now this is coming to the area where if Shane Burgos is going to get a win within these minute and 42 seconds, he is going to have to do something drastic that is going to take him outside of what he has already been doing, which is a very solid strategy of attacking this lead left leg. And now he's getting caught in some of these really bad dogfight elements for their stand-up that's happening. 120 left to go. Now you're seeing Emmett with round 3, significant strikes at a head, 41-18. And Burgos is coming in with a jab, trying to pepper him. Meanwhile, Emmett timed him out, gets a nice left hook on over this. Live wagering odds during the nut shot break, 115 negative either side. Pick 'em, anybody's fight, was from Fight Ghost, is how that was apparently being put out there. Meanwhile, I'll come back to Third Coast Grappling in a second. I just want to point out that I think that Josh Emmett is, if he can stay consistent in this right now, he is going to pull out a highly impressive win that is going to live up to the technical branding that they were saying for this. And mind you, I don't even know if we know the full situation about his leg. You're seeing Burgos returning in turn with 30 seconds left to go. This fight is still so fun to watch. Okay, comes in, connects. These combinations look beautiful. All right, Andre, sorry, but it does look like, yes, you're going to see Josh Emmett maybe pull this one away in the decision. Stranger things have happened, but I'll tell you this much. I love this fight a lot. Ooh, no, good crack by Shane Burgos. And the two of them just hug each other and say, what's up? They're even such pals. They're walking almost in tandem together. And if I'm being a guesser here, I'm probably estimating that Shane Burgos is probably going over to Dana White, signaling for money. Meanwhile, Triple C is saying that he feels great seeing both of these guys work in his weight class. Not anymore. I mean, bro, you're old news now. Like, no one cares about you anymore. Yeah, Andre Santiago, you are not shitting us, my friend. That was an excellent fight. Man, I love that fight a lot. Emmett just, I don't know, man. I'm gonna go back and watch his tape study. Again, I'm not a striker in the least, but I feel like there's a whole bunch you can learn from that. He said he just tied the record, but I'm not sure for what. Okay, Burgos went over to, I guess, the booth and said that he believes he has it 2-1 in his favor. And I don't know how hard he got cracked, but all right, we're about to get a fight result. I'll go ahead and bring it to you in just a second. Just to let you know, they're in this weird scissor over on Third Coast Grappling with 153 left to go as they drag him back to the center. Here's your fight result. 3 rounds, judges scorecard. 29-28, 29-28, and 29-27 for one Josh Emmett. And Shane Burgos just kind of gives a look like, oh, man. Yeah, that's a great fight. Good for these guys. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give this cheers on out to this fight. Josh, Shane, we like to cheers people who get fight finishes. That's normally our tradition here. Your fight was so good, it felt like it already had 3 or 4 different finishes within it for a number of other people. But what we're going to do here is we're going to cheers you guys because I not only think that was the fight of the night, but that's one of the best fights that we've gotten to see this year. And it was a privilege to be able to watch it. So thank you, both of you, and extra special cheers to one Josh Emmett. That was a tough thing to pull out. So both of you gents, maybe just a little bit more to you. Josh Emmett, cheers. Oof. So let's hear what Josh Emmett has to say in just a second. While we wait, Victor Hugo is pulled ahead 2-0 against Evangelista. So I'll let you guys know that. You're talking about the potential knockdowns and knockouts from won Josh Emmett's category. But if you look at his record, he has 2 losses, one to Desmond Green, which is a split decision, and the second, which is a loss to Jeremy Stevens by a knockout, and that was back in 2018. However, his record is pretty untarnished otherwise. He has a win over a friend of the show, which is Christos Yagos, who is not an easy person to put away, by the way. And if I remember correctly, I actually remember Christos earlier this week sending out, I believe, good wishes to a former opponent of his and saying, hey, man, we scrapped. We had our issues, or not our issues, but we had our match. It is what it is. Congrats to you. So let me get this straight. We're now going back again, even though Victor Hugo had 2 points on the scorecard to an overtime. Is this sub only? Anyway, I'll come back to that in a second. Ooh, Josh Emmett is saying he might have hyperextended his leg. He said he couldn't believe it. Oh, wow. He said, all you journalists, he says he sees what you're writing about him, so he might be watching what we're saying. Okay. Now he's just saying that, power first versus precision ended up winning out tonight. So, eek. Yeah. He's got a lot of nice things that he is saying over to his opponent, Shane Burgos, and he's giving him the credit he deserves. Calls him a future champion and contender, and he says, man, he hits hard, and he goes, look, he's tough as hell. Look at how many times I had to hit him, and he would recompose each time. So talking about I think Josh won that one. Yeah. Uh-huh. Margaret says Josh won this fight. They're both awesome fighters. Yeah. Emmett he's crazy, man. That was an insane fight to watch. They're talking about it holding up in the fight of the year conversation. I mean, it's definitely something that we can go back and look at again. I know I will be. All right, just to fill you in, Ricardo Evangelista and Victor Hugo go into overtime for whatever reason. Not really sure. Listen, I would like to tell you I looked up the rules, but, did I? No. Should I have? Maybe. Oh, God. The UFC is doing a congratulations to us promo. This is Dana White basically saying, other people are looking dumb, but we're actually putting on events. Yay, us. So now they're talking about Fight Island. This is one of their dumbest things that they've done. This promo is so ridiculous. Okay. So at this point, you've got Hugo playing guard for Evangelista. Evangelista doing his best to try and put the pressure on. And there's minute 45 left to go in this. So we'll see what we see as it becomes more apparent. But yes, this is a gi series for a Kumite that they have going on tonight. Coming up after this is Jonatas Gracie versus Pedro Marino, who last week, if memory serves me right, ended up winning the Jits Kings competition. So that comes up next. So it'll be interesting to see how he does once he puts the pajamas back on. That's very fun to watch. My thanks to all of you who are watching on all of our different formats and on all of our different streaming platforms. We very much appreciate you guys. We're trying to do our best to take a look at every single comment that we have. And again, y'all rock. We much appreciate y'all. Michael Fitzgerald, no, thanks you, sir. We appreciate you guys watching. Again, give us a share, give us a like. You get a cheers, just like we did for that amazing fight of the year candidate, but the hell of a fight nonetheless. And as we continue to go by, we see 45 seconds left, and there's a nice gubber guard from one Victor Hugo, trademark Rafa Esparza, not Keelan Cornelius. Just letting you know, I came up with the name first. Keenan made lots of money off of it and has not sent me a dime. Just saying. Oh, they're doing apparently fights tonight. That's why they're early. Good to know. 15 seconds left to go. We're actually going to approach right now, as we continue on, the main event for this broadcast. Hopefully you guys are enjoying what you're seeing. I don't know how you follow that one, but Curtis Blades, Alexander Volkov coming up after the break for them. Meanwhile, at Third Coast Grappling, they now have gotten to the point where we should have a decision being made in just a second. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for that coming up next, as we will move on. Jonas Gracie versus Pedro Moreno, Andy Cordova versus Nick Shawn, and then we get into the semifinals. So we go to the official result for them, and your winner is Victor Hugo, who will advance to the next level of the game. So far, we have seen 1, Gustavo Batista, 1, Philippe Andrew, and now Victor Hugo going on. All that's left for the Kumite right now in terms of the first round is Joannas Gracie versus Pedro Moreno. So we will keep you updated as this becomes more available to us. But so far, so interesting. Thank you, guys. I believe we are having a great night of fights. This has been an impactful evening. Whew. All right, what else do we got? Main event's coming up right now. I would love to hear who you guys have for the main event. Do you have Curtis Blades, who's promising to ragdoll his opponent, or Alexander Volkov? It's an interesting question. I understand that. Oh, BT Dubs, if you guys aren't following us, do us a solid on Periscope. Give us some hearts and then give us a follow. It's at Grappling Hour. If you're on Twitch, give us a follow. If you're on YouTube, give us a subscription and a like. If you're on Facebook, like and share, get you a cheers. And then, of course, on, what's the other one? I think those are the main ones, right? Anyway, go ahead and follow us on all those platforms. Oh, also on Twitter, you can follow us at Grappling Hour. But we always love when you guys give us love. It always makes things a lot more fun when we do these events. It makes us feel good on the inside. But yes, I would love to hear who you guys have in the main event. Do you have Blades? Do you have Volkov? And I'm going to go ahead and take a peek back over on to Third Coast Grappling. And this looks very strange. It looks like Hal Teague with his scarf, which is a camouflage little mask that he's got wearing on today, and the glasses he's wearing with the headset. Looks like an evil villain in an 80s Schwarzenegger movie. Like, he looks like he's about to tell him some sort of weird one-liner that Schwarzenegger is going to respond back and be like, "You're fired." Just saying. All right. We're waiting to see. Oh, Andre Santiago, you've got Volkov. Good for you, sir. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I don't know what to feel on this one. However, you know what, though? I almost like your first answer better. You write Alexander Volvo, and I know that that's a misprint and that you corrected it, but I wish I could call him Alexander Volvo. I have a certain penchant for going up to people and calling them their wrong names to their faces. So anyway, that's what I'm reminding you guys to do. Follow us on all of our platforms. Say what's up to us. Leave some comments in the section because we got a couple minutes to go ahead and, kill until we got to get back to doing the main thing. So I'm actually going to make sure to share this on my platform. So I'm going to go over to all the Twitter accounts that we have and share and say, what's up, fam? So anyway, that's what we still got going on. Third Coast Grappling is just wasting time by just talking, so that's no big deal. Andre Santiago, you just gave us a like. Hey, man, cheers to you. Thank you very much for giving us some fun things to talk about. This cheers goes out for not only your participation, but for Alexander Volvo. It's pretty funny. I know you didn't intend it, but I think it's funny as fuck. And as somebody who doesn't always laugh at people's jokes, I think you take that as a compliment, sir. Just saying. Because people tell a lot of really bad jokes. I know. I do too sometimes, but mostly not. All right. What else do I have for you? Thank you. No, thank you. You're the best. I appreciate you. Boom. Let's see what we got. They're still talking on Third Coast Grappling. These guys need to understand the main event is happening on the UFC. So it's going to make it very difficult to try and keep up with both of these as we get more hot fire events. Y'all want to take advantage of this. Keep it going at the exact same time. Alexander Volvo walking out right now. That's a good name, Volvo. I would agree. Alexander Volvo, the Volvo family. Everybody knows them. Great cars. They break down, but you know, they'll get you to where you need to be. All right, walkouts are happening. What else do I got for you guys? I'm looking to see if we have any comments on any of the other sections. So just doing our due diligence. Beautiful, beautiful notes from all of you guys. Thank you again very much. Boom. All right. Most def indeed. Let's see here. So, main event is about to happen before your eyes. Meanwhile, Third Coast Grappling can't tell if they're just still talking and just shooting the shit. Nope, we have an introduction. I think this is Oliver that's doing the introductions. Oliver's dressed like an okay enough person. No heads or tails on anything. We got a We Defy booth that I can see getting some nice prominent love over on that moment. Alexander Volkov has some stats. Has Kenny Bolt over this way. Interesting. Kenny Bolt's wrestling is always muy bueno. Oh, look at that. I see a Chase. Young Chase over on the stream. All right. So we are seeing both the gents take the center. Oh, God. I should have screenshot that. Oh, yes. God damn it. No. Oh, fuck. So on the stream, they were going to do the names. Yes. Did I get it? Oh, tell me I got that shit. I cannot wait to show you guys. If I ended up getting this photo, it's going to be worth every bit of... Yes. Yeah, I think I ended up getting at least one of them. So here we go. Curtis Blade's about to make his entrance on out. Is he coming out to Mortal Kombat? Shit. No. Fuck. To be fair, I guess he's not fighting on Fight Island because this would make way more sense if he did it at Fight Island. But do I still love it? Yes. This is so stupid. Like, I hope you understand how crazy ridiculous this is that he's walking out to Mortal Kombat in an empty stadium. Yeah. It was really funny. All right, so serene shots. I'm going to see if I could find it for you guys. This is my favorite thing I've seen from Flow Grappling in a bit. We're also waiting for anything to happen on this Third Coast, waiting for a split second. I'll give you guys some results momentarily. Looks like there's an attempt at a sweep over this way. This never stops being funny. And I think they're purposely, because there's no score if you're watching the live feed. And there is a specific reason for this. This guy is 7 feet tall. I mean, compared to me, yeah. I'll tell you that much. And of course, with Curtis Blades, you do see that there is also his hair, which doubles as a kids menu maze. Just to let you know that. Andre Santiago, you are right. This is going to be an interesting fight. 8-1, no contest in last 10 fights. Most takedowns in UFC heavyweight history at 45. And the highest takedown rate in the UFC in heavyweight history, 6.63 per 15 minutes. That's a lot of work for big guys, my friend. So my hat tip to that man. I'm trying to see if we can get this little photo because I want you guys to see what I'm seeing. It's just not coming through for a second. So I know. I think it might actually be on the desktop. So part of the reason why I'm so giddy about this thing is I want you guys to see why I'm laughing so hard at Flow Grappling, because they're nice enough, they're fine, but this is just one of those times where you think to yourself, oh, this is too good to be true, because in the process of them trying to get their shit together and put the scores down, you also get to see how their technology works. So I can't tell if this is Flow, might actually be Third Coast Grappling. Either way, I still feel confident enough to make this joke, and it will have a payoff as soon as I'm able to make it fucking work. So everybody be patient while I wait for my slow-ass computer to do some funny shit. In the meantime, Bruce Buffer is making the introductions. They are going to bring it to you just shortly. Herb Dean asking for your continual love, putting his hands together like he's about to record the best R&B album of 1983. Yeah, this dude's too tall. I'm not a fan. Andre Santiago, 6'7", actually. Megan Johnson says you are going with Curtis on this one. Okay. I honestly don't have a preference per se. I just kind of like Curtis, but this is one of those fights where I usually tell the fighter, persuade me. Let's see what you got for me. Because if you guys make an interesting enough case, yeah, but you're too tall. Do I hate people who are too tall? That's a great question, because I'm not super tall. So do I allow my biases to come in? I mean, he's looking really evil villainish, so that helps. How do I put this to you guys? Okay, before we start this fight, I just need you to see this one little thing that I'm posting up here for you. And I don't know that you can fully see it, but I'm going to do my best to try and bring it to your attention before they start this fight, which is real simple. It is, look at this. This is on the Flow Grappling site. And so I know they're trying to close it so they can put up the little names of who's competing and whatnot. But nothing is funnier to me than being like, hey, listen, while this is going on, do you want to open up your Microsoft Word? It's okay. You can close this, or you can go straight back to the Excel document that you guys had before. Great stuff. Thanks, Third Coast Grappling and Flow Grappling. I needed that chuckle. All right. We're going now. It does look like in this one, Jonas Gracie is ahead 2-0. Pedro Mourinho is 0 on this one. We will find out more information as it becomes available, but we are now starting at the top of the very first round of 5 between Curtis Blades and Alexander Volkov. And there is already an attempt at a single leg, and he has taken that big man down. And there was a giant thud, a seismic thud that happened as he brought him down. This is an interesting place to be for that. Oh, that was quick. Oh, my God. Yup. That was, hey, man, listen, if you're going to fight a giant, take him down quickly. He's not going to be as tall on the ground. Nice trip over by Curtis. He looks like he's going to be able to slam him. He's just picking it out. Instead of using his strength, he does a good job of using the foot sweeps to kind of come on over. He's actually close enough to maybe start working on some of these, taking in the hooks on for his side, but doesn't look like he's going to do that yet. He's going to soften him up with some knees to the thighs, which will kind of warm him up. Meanwhile, on over on Third Coast Grappling, Gracie is still ahead 2-0 against Mourinho, so we'll keep you updated on that. Now you're seeing Blades slowly weigh him down. He's probably going to work on getting a little bit more of control. You're seeing Volkov try to protect his face with an arm just right above where his head is and not quite blocking a lot of things. Now you're seeing on the Flow Grappling's Third Coast Grappling almost a wardrobe malfunction on the opposite side. So yikes. Kid-friendly show here, kids. Nope. He's pulling down on the pants, which might just moon, and there are some angry, aggressive attempts to get out of this position, but it is not doing. Gracie now is ahead 4-2 from Mourinho. And there's 9 seconds, and you're seeing, I believe, Pedro doing the best he can to try and get out of this position, but he's just kind of stuck given the gi and the fact that he cannot move out of it, and they expire to the end of time. Now do they go to the golden score? Because who knows at this point. Yeah, they're going to some weird overtime bullshit. All right. So now you're seeing on the UFC card, Blades is getting a good grip, gets in a nice strike. Sorry about that. For whatever reason, sometimes it resets. Hopefully you guys hear me just fine. We are back on both. Excellent. My thanks to you guys for tuning in on today's broadcast. You're not seeing too much movement over here by Curtis Blades. You're seeing Volkov just kind of stuck in this position. And yes, on Third Coast Grappling, they're going to their weird overtime. Andre Santiago, you are so correct. Thank you. He better watch his neck. I mean, it's something that you would feel most people would try to do in this position. But I think for wrestlers, they just like the ability to impose their will. And that might be the position or the mentality here. But it's not. I don't know how much damage he's taking rather than just being put into a position that seems unfortunate. So I guess we're just going to chill here and see what's going on. Oh, now he's got head down, making him carry the weight, as Dominic Cruz is saying. Agree with that, so that's good. Going to go ahead and check on anybody else, making sure we have any comments here. Gracie Mourinho is still going on in their weird overtime. That doesn't quite make sense, but sure, we'll go along with it kind of rulings. As we see Joannis Gracie maybe either coming up on it or leaving his leg a little too far south. Oh, not quite there yet. And he's going to come up on top, which I think now he's going to look and he's going to get the points that I guess matter. Who knows? Joannis Gracie advances along with Victor Hugo, who he'll take on in the next round, as well as Philippe Andrew and Juan Batista. So look for those coming up next. Thus far in, the total strike differentium is Curtis Blades at 32 versus 3 for Volkov, which not looking great. Ooh, nice. Looked like he was going to trip him up just a little bit again, so we're waiting to see how that's going to play off on this. Andre, I know earlier you wrote he better watch his neck, but, I mean, has that even seemed like a concern at any point in this whole fight, which is insane to think? But, of course, we're going to see that happen in a second round coming up right now. Moving back on over to Third Coast Grappling, they're now doing a series of showing you what's been going on in their events, so that's really nice. I am getting a hand delivery of some pizza. My eternal thanks to my beautiful wife for bringing this on over to me. So if you guys hear me chewing in between, just know I have to eat too. All right. Both events on commercial breaks, which is a great time to remind you guys, follow us at Grappling Hour, all platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, Twitch, all of them at Grappling Hour. We try to make it as easy as possible for all y'all. For those of you joining on Periscope, hello, good to see you. Glad you guys are here. Throw some comments. Tell us what you like. Don't tell us what you don't like. I really don't care. They're now trying to interpret what his coaches are saying to him, and he just said, keep the distance. Okay. All right. Back to work we go. Third coast still on the break. Second round. Blades is oof. Volvo has to move. Enjoy that pizza. Thank you very much, Andre. Appreciate that. Most people won't even give me the time to eat, so I always love it when our audience watching understands I have to eat too, guys. So this is an interesting prospect. Blades is coming in a little bit more aggressive, which good. And he's really trying to hit him with everything he's got. But for a split second, Volkov was eating the shots. And then you saw him try to return it. Now we're back down to the money. Love this. Volkov gets taken down by Curtis Blades again. This is going to be one of those bad positions, but at least this time he's facing him. And he could potentially throw in a couple elbows if he will so deemed it possibly to do. Nice takedown by Curtis. You are right, Megan. All right. Nothing's happening in there, so boring. Oh, you're standing up. Still on a commercial for Third Coast Grappling. So let's see here. If we're looking at this objectively, which we are, we're kind of wondering, what is the game plan for Volvo here? Now he's playing from guard, which honestly is the safest he's been the entire fight. Waiting to see. This is Third Coast Grappling's tribute to Gordon Ryan. This is when we were supposed to see Gordon Ryan versus Philippe Pena. Don't really know what any of this is about, but there you go. All right. Well, there's Jake Watson, who has weaseled his way onto the commentary booth. Good for him. All right. Well, now Volkov is at least a little bit more competitive in this so far. His working from guard has probably been the peak of his offense thus far in. At the same point, Blades is still punching very aggressively from inside of his guard. I mean, I think at this point he might be wishing for them to reset them back into the third round. I think he wants to just keep this guard going for as long as possible before they have to then go and go to their next fight. Chris Weidman chiming in. Curtis Blades looks great. I like Gilbert Burns being like, it looks like Volkov has a very long night ahead of him. This is not the best of fights. But, you know, we've been spoiled. Especially with that co-main event. That was a really good fight. Yeah, I mean, they're talking about the fact that Curtis leaves his hands on the mat, which is not typically great from a jiu-jitsu perspective, but when your opponent really isn't doing much, I also realized saying anything that you're going to say about someone's form and technique is always going to be amplified when you put pizza in your mouth and stuff it. So it's always going to look really, really like, yeah, these guys just can't finish their takedowns. They stop. That's the rudest statistic I've ever seen thrown in a fight. Volkov, putting him in guard, says ground control time, 0 seconds. Unnecessary. Like, who made that stat? Hey, listen, can you give us a good stat to show how much he's losing this fight? Rude. All right. Well, there's 23 seconds left in the second round of 5, by the way. So get excited for that. I think Volkov just wants to hold him to avoid being hit. I think you're right. I still feel like making that statistic is just bad form. Jesus. Good trip to end the round. Third Coast, you back? Yes, they are. So it looks like Third Coast's next one is Andy Cordova versus Nick Schwann. Thank you guys again for those of you who are watching on Periscope. We appreciate you guys. Give us some hearts if you would. Every one of these platforms has a weird thing that they ask for, or that they say, give us. On Periscope, it's give us hearts. Sure. On Facebook, it's give us likes and shares. Great. On Twitch, I don't even know what you're supposed to ask for on Twitch. Give us money? I don't even think you can give me money yet. But you know what? When you can give me money, give me all of it. Because, you know, be nice. You called it correct. Take the bigger guy down and keep him down and break his will. Thank you. I mean, hey, listen, if I could do that, I would. It's a great strategy. I wonder what the strategy is for Volkov. I don't know what it is. And I think it's hard to work against somebody who has that many takedowns in a category that isn't really traditionally known for giant takedowns like this. So it's difficult. Ryan Frederick says 20-17 on this one. I guess, dude. I couldn't tell you with heads or tails if this is a 2017 or an 18 fight because, ooh, he just jabbed him and then went straight for a takedown, and it just looks easy. Yeah. Anyway, Andy Cordova, Nick Schwann, I'll keep you guys up to date on that one too. They're both starting on the feet. You've got Cordova in the blue anklet and Nick Schwann in the red anklet. So that is what is happening there. A slight stop in the action as the two of them return back to the octagon's center, and you're seeing Volkov's hair turn into that 80s Backstreet, or not 80s, 90s Backstreet Boy kind of hair. That's how bad it's progressed. It's punched his hair into a different decade. Hey, look. Volkov now gets the opportunity. No, he doesn't. Nope. That didn't last long. Meanwhile, just to fill you guys in on what's going on, Andy Cordova is working from the back now, has 4 points while trying to submit his opponent. Is going to have some time with 5 minutes left to work over there. Now Blades is clearly at a tripod, and Volkov is wondering why he signed up for this in the first place. Eek. Do you think Volkov at this point is like, I wish, or I'm happy this is 5 rounds because I can maybe come back into it? Or do you think he's wondering, can we just call it at 3? That's just not going to happen for me. Here's the bad news. We're still not even at the halfway point of this event, yet it is so incredibly lopsided. The hard part is you still feel like Blades, for as much as he's had top control, hasn't really taken advantage of it with any strikes that look to waver Volkov in his resolve on this either. So, yikes. Nope. Still breaking him down bit by bit. 2:15 left to go on that. Meanwhile, Cordova still working on trying to get the back and finish on the Third Coast Grappling. Now doing the little dig around the neck. He has that back control with one leg through control, which isn't bad. He's trying draping him through. He might actually be in on starting to work more towards a triangle here if he's able to section this off right, but instead now go back to guard. They bring him back over to the center. Oh my God. It was like kids at an elementary school both sitting like Indian style and just having punches to it. Volkov does not have an answer. He's just sitting there thinking, yeah. So here is where I'd like to see him maybe start to try for that rear naked choke. That might be the time. Like, you wore him down enough, he should be ready to just kind of give you his chin. Nope. Doesn't want anything to do with it. Let's do a solid here. Let's look at, oh, that might tell you it. Yes. You've got, for Curtis Blades, no submissions at all. So I don't think you're going to see that. Which would be great right now. Just saying. Volkov, again, a grip for a submission here. No, too slippery, not doing anything. Now you're going to see Curtis Blades start to do what I think we've been kind of waiting for him to do, which is to use this position for just heavy strikes continuously. Backs away from him, and we are going back to the center. No. Well, this is some good time to look at the back of one Volkov's back tattoo. That's where we're at in the fight. Nothing too great. By the way, there's something I really enjoy when people chime in on memes, and they'll start with the phrase, "Now that's funny." It's always like, no. Compared to what free things you're buying. I've also like to point out over here for Schwan over on this event, who's now down 0-6. His mustache is all shades of creepy. Good for him. What do I got for you guys? So that's part of the reason why they're doing other things this evening for the UFC. They have Navarrete versus Lopez. I was wondering why they started a little earlier, and I was like, I don't know why they're starting earlier. Could not tell you. All right, here we go. Round 4. Hey, a kick from Volkov. And you saw Blades catch it, use it as an opportunity to take the back, dump him down a little bit. And this is it. I mean, listen, Blades, I would love it if you just learn a submission somehow tonight. This is your time, my friend. You have all the time in the world. Take this rear naked choke. Oh, good. They're going to overtime. Over on Third Coast Grappling despite having a score. So is this sub only and then they go to a decision based on your score in overtime? Because that's kind of silly. Imagine watching the NFL and they put up a score, and at the end when you go, how come one team didn't win? They go, just kidding. Whoever gets the first field goal wins, and if they don't both get field goals, then we just go to the score that we originally had. 340. And Blades. I mean, is Blades taking this fight just so that he could have an even crazier amount of takedowns on his UFC historical card? Well, Volkov, again, does not look dead. And honestly, you're starting to see Blades get a little tired here, too. Yeah, I think they have to sub or they automatically go to an overtime round. Kind of different. Not a fan. Don't put up the score then. What you can do, have the match go, show who has the score at the end, Because why look at a score during the regulation just so that you can go, that doesn't matter. Those scores don't matter. It's just silly. Anyway, Megan, I don't think you're responsible for that, so I'm not yelling at you. I'm just saying in general. What? Why? Eesh. Well, Blades is effectively tired, and I don't blame him. Takedowns are not easy to do. Meanwhile, Kumite. He passed. No. Yeah, just work to establish the position, dude. You don't need the submission at this point. We've learned that almost doesn't matter. I wonder if you got a submission during regulation. They'd be like, nah. No, didn't count. Didn't press click save before you did. There we go, Blades. From inside the guard. Let's drop some hammer fists. I feel bad. I think he's really tired. I would not want to see him lose because he is exhausted from the amount of takedowns he's done. Blades has literally done all of the work. I hope the ref stands them both up. Maybe. I agree with you. Thanks, Megan. Appreciate you. Andre, I don't know if he's going to stand them up. Because they're just doing this much enough to keep things going. So we might be here a while. Good thing I have pizza now. Nope, not happening. Great. Checking the Kumite now. 150 in the super bonus actual round. That is the real match. Cordova still working. Oh, they're going to stand him up. You're right. Yay. Well, what's going to happen now? Ooh, nice knee by Volkov, though. Nice knee again. Listen, I don't know how I'm going to explain this one to people if Volkov ends up winning. So, oh, hilarious. Now you're seeing Volkov in on a takedown? Stop it. Stop it right now. This is ridiculous. Yeah, Curtis Blades is starting to bleed. This doesn't make any sense. Just Curtis is really exhausted. All right, 37 seconds left to go over on the Kumite submission-ish match with Cordova and Schwann, and we're probably going to exceed time. So his corner is saying this fight should be over by now. This is some championship round shit. We do step over his legs. It's a choice. We're doing that. He's taking it all in. Keep the levels down. I don't know. I can't tell you what they're saying because they have to translate it. And it gets really weird when you have four people talking. All right. Well, they're about to announce a winner on the super fight. I'll give you that result from the Kumite in just a second. He's breathing so hard. Yeah, I know. This is so weird. All right. I believe which one won? Is that Cordova? Yeah, I think Cordova won. Congrats. Oh my God, Curtis, no. I don't want to see you lose this fight. It would make me so sad. Nice uppercut by Volkov. Blades, no! This is so stupid. Oh no. I think we're getting to that moment where Blades is starting to do when you press all the buttons on a video game fight character and they just start spinning around and they're not hitting the other person. Volkov's connecting. You call him Volvo. I'm also not opposed to Voltron because I keep wanting to call him Voltron, possibly because he's so tall. Curtis Take him down, please. Just, I don't want to see this. Thank you. Yep. It's so ugly, but sure. It's so stupid. I don't like. Why am I rooting for somebody who is kind of in it still? Oh my god, this is so silly. This dude who's over here with the mask and the tie, who looks like he's part of some commission, is literally looking at them like this. All right, Curtis is now swarming him again. Volkov should just try and reach with that back elbow and see what it does for him. This is so ridiculous. Ugh. They're on a commercial right now. We're on the downslope of all things Third Coast Grappling. So they're going to have the first semifinal, then a couple. Oh, take him down. Take him down. Come on. I mean, the hard part with this Volkov is now just coming alive with 2 minutes and 39 seconds left to go in this fight. This. All right. Well. Yep. Take him down. Well, here's some good news. There's 23 takedown attempts. We've seen every single one of them because it's kind of hard not to see each one of those with how much time we've had. However, I would tell you this. I would tell you that if you're looking at what happens next for Blades, it's confusing because he has famously beat Junior Dos Santos, Justin Willis, Mark Hunt, Andre Olink. Like, he's got some good wins over some prominent people, but he's got 2 losses to Francis Ngannou, which now that you're seeing these decision things on his record, you're probably going to be like, I don't know where you're supposed to go next, bud. Into a triangle. If you lose to a triangle, no. What are we supposed to say to this, guys? That co-main event was so good. Oh, here we go. Total strikes. Blades has been 10-31 here. The last one, 29-17 in favor of Volkov. No, I don't think he's going to pull a rabbit out of anything here. Well, Curtis Blades is going to win. But not without Volkov trying to elbow the shit out of the top of his face. If you're just joining us, I'm very sorry. I wish this fight was better for you. What I can tell you, though, is that Third Coast Grappling is still going on right now. And I believe we are now going into the semifinal. So go semifinal, then one more super fight, second semifinal, super fight, final. So we're on the downslope here. Curtis Blades is probably going to get this decision because science and also like all right, you got Batista versus Andrew over on Third Coast Grappling. If we could see a submission here, that would be dope. Will we? Let's find out. Gentlemen start both on their feet. Grips have been made. We're going to see if there's a pull down anytime soon. Nice shoot in by one, Philippe Andrew. Oh, who do you guys have been winning that fight? case, you have some crazy different opinion than anybody else should. It's safe to say we will not be choosing that fight. So there's that. Let's see how this last round or so goes for one Batista and Andrew. And I'll decide if I'm going to stick around for that. If you guys are willing to stick around, I'll stick around. But we're getting there. Here we go. Fight lore promo means they're being. Sorry about that. Sometimes these things knock out. 49-46, blah, 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 different scores. Your unanimous decision winner is Curtis Blades. Yeah. Let's give him an oxygen tank. Ooh, girl. He is tired. All right, well, they're probably going to need to talk to him. Let me go ahead and see what he says. I hope they give him some time to recuperate before he has to talk, because I don't know if he's even going to be able to make words without breathing a little heavy. All right, 450 left to go on the Kumite. Curtis Blades is now at 9 heavyweight wins. Meanwhile, over here, Third Coast Grappling. Nice grip on the pant leg by Batista, who's looking to try and get a sweep here. Philippe Andrews trying to pull him up. Not anything super crazy here. A little bit of stilted action. Nothing super crazy happening on that side. I'm going to continue eating this pizza while they wait for Curtis Blades to make it on over. I do assume they're going to interview him because, they got the time. Plus, I guess they got to figure out what happened. Here we go. Here's a summary of what he is saying. Oh, man, it's been a while since I've seen somebody this tired. No. You know what it is? It's so mean to laugh at. Andre, we knew who won from the first takedown. He's going to need that oxygen ASAP. So in case you're not watching anymore or you're not watching the direct feed of him outside, it's like when your kid did something wrong and they were running and you caught them in the middle of doing something bad. You go, what happened? Like, oh, my, they hit me. Oh, and then I ran the other way. Oh, I didn't knock over the table. Ooh. He's talking title shot. But sure. The hardest part about that is, you make the argument for him and Francis Ngannou again, and that just doesn't even make sense. Jesus Christ, that's so weird. All right, they're calling it off on UFC, but we still have Third Coast Grappling. So if you guys want to stick around, we'll talk a little bit more about that. Not too much going on just yet, but our thanks to everybody at the UFC for a great fight night. And again, do not forget that co-main event. We're going to be talking about that for some time. That was so dope. I love this. P.S. Happy Father's Day. Thank you. I don't have any kids, but I have a beautiful little puppy. So, pet dad? I don't know. I don't really like to conflate it. But yes, I do expect my dog to get me something in the morning. She better make some breakfast or something. Who's winning? Well, Kelvin, are you talking about the UFC? Because if it was the UFC, it was not the fans. Curtis Blades did win. Right now, on the Flow Grappling, Third Coast Grappling, we're in the middle of the semifinals. You know, it's a little okay. It's nothing super great just yet, but it does look like Dog Dad does count. Thank you. I mean, my wife and I, we say the same thing where it's like, we're parents. I think we're going to probably go on Instagram while we're still doing this as well. I love this. This has been an incredible night of fights and then like some okay ones. While we're kind of giving you guys updates on what's happening between Batista and Andrew, it's probably going to go to the Golden Snitch round. I think that's what we're supposed to call it. And then we continue on. So this is the first side of the semifinals. Then we go to the next one. So we got some action to continue going on, but I'm going to make sure for our grappling-centric fans, we continue giving you guys some coverage of Third Coast Grappling because we like them. You know, they try to do good things, and sometimes it happens, and sometimes, you know, they're not great matches. And honestly, there's been interesting things that have been happening. Obviously, it was hard to keep the pace with one of the funnest co-main events you've ever seen. And I will say, the top of this evening's card for the UFC was way more interesting. The prelims, all the way up to the prelims, were money. After the prelims were dicey, but they weren't bad. It says co-main was better than the main for UFC. 1,000,000%. The co-main made life complete. We all had a great time during the co-main. During the main event, we all should have learned a skill. Like, we should have learned a new language. We should have figured out how to collate paper or something. Like, something that really would have paid off for it. Like a skill you can put on your resume or something like that. So, yes, Kelvin, you are correct in that. Was not my favorite of main event cards, but, you know, we'll live. Honestly, we also can't, you know, beggars can't be choosers at this point because we're all just trying to get by with whatever things that we need to with COVID. So these are fights that it's like a TV show. You know what I mean? Like, some of your favorite TV shows aren't necessarily the best TV shows, you know, outside of COVID right now, if you're watching them. Who won? Abu Alka. Looks like Alkaka, which hilarious. That would be Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades did win. A lot of you guys are coming in just wondering who the hell won, which begs the question, where were you when the fights were on? Do you guys not know the fights were happening? Right now, if you're asking for Third Coast Grappling, we can tell you that they are in the overtime aspect. It does look like we've got Batista and Andrew who are fighting to figure out who is going to go on to the finals, and a very compelling argument by Batista right now, who is very close in terms of securing a position that will maybe advance him. However, he is put in return by Batista. No, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Oof. Every time I see these guys go for leg locks, I'm just always a little sad that they don't finish. Like, they get the idea to go for a leg lock, and then they stop. Like, right now, Philippe Andrew, his leg is a little compromised, and yet they're not going to continue going on with it. So that just kind of bums me out. That's just me. Who cares what I think, though? 3:35 left in overtime. Let's see how this plays out. Yes, that is what's happening on our watching of all things Third Coast Grappling. Hey, Abu, thank you so much for following us. I'll give you the cheers on that one. Appreciate you. Appreciate you asking a question and then giving us a follow. We like that. We do tons more coverage here at the Grappling Hour. We do a little bit of MMA and Jiu-Jitsu. Andre Santiago, look at you. Hey, listen, you get some of the best comments of this thread. I haven't picked what my favorite comment of the evening is just yet, but I will tell you this, you're definitely up there. Thank you very much for watching and following. We appreciate you. All right, here's this. Cheers to you. Oh, this is so good. All right, Third Coast Grappling, 2 minutes and 41 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and put us on right now on our Grappling Hour Instagram. Here we go. And live. Boom. You have a good night as well. Good to see you. All right. I'm going to introduce this to the people who are watching. If you guys are on Instagram right now, thank you very much for tuning in. We're watching the very end of Third Coast Grappling, which I don't know if you are watching live. If not, don't worry. I've got you covered. We are in the middle of the first semifinal bout between Gustavo Batista versus Philippe Andrew. So far, so decent. What's up, Irish Grappler 74? Good to see you. And we're going to keep you covered. We've also been doing all of the UFCs earlier this evening. So we've been here for a while. This is the tail end of the evening. Very excited to have you join us on either of our platforms. So much appreciation, much love. Are you training right now, Irish Grappler? We're always curious to find these things out. We hope that it is going well. I also want to give shout outs to everybody who has followed. What's up, Bill? Was that Will Yagami? Thank you very much for giving us a nice little love on this one. We tell people if you give us a like and a share, you get a cheers just like everybody else. So to you, Will, we give you a nice cheers. Thank you very much for your support. It means the world to us here. Don't forget, always rolling. Good man. Don't forget that tomorrow we are also going to come back to do Submission Underground 15. So that means tomorrow at 3 p.m. Best Coast time, we'll be doing that broadcast live. We're going to have our panel back. It's going to be a great evening for that. And I'm looking forward to a lot of those matches because I think, just my opinion, I think that first round match between one Nathan Orchard and Roberto Jimenez is going to be like fire, like really, really good. So I hope that you guys are excited for that one. If you aren't, get your pulse checked because you should be excited about that one. That's a fucking fantastic fight. We've had our friends Mike John and Mike Frosto. I guess I didn't realize I invited two Mikes to watch us this tonight. That's what we had going on. What's up, G baby? Look at you coming back for seconds. We are finishing the Third Coast Grappling coverage for our evening. Good to see you, sir. And it's been okay. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna tell you it's anything better than it, it is. Ooh, full moons. Yeah, right now you saw Gustavo Batista pulling down on the back of the gi pants, which then showed us one Philippe Andrews moons over my hammy to be precise. So that's what's going on this one. Anyway, as Tupac once famously said, the underground don't stop for hoes, and neither do we. So we continue on with lots and lots of coverage. We're very close. This is the first semifinal round. There should be one more semifinal, and we've got two super fights. And then we're at the final, guys. So, we're coming up on the end of this one, too. So hopefully they get it done within the next, because I think this stream stops at about the 4-hour mark. So just to fill you in, that's kind of what we got going on this evening. Hopefully it's done within the next 50 minutes. If not, no big deal. We're still here talking with you guys and enjoying what we're seeing thus far in. Unfortunately, in terms of submissions, coming up on the lower side here today for Submission Underground. However, Jim Miller gave one of the best submissions of the evening. So if you guys missed that out on the UFC, take the to a nunnery and watch that one immediately. 5 seconds left to go on this one. You have to imagine, I don't know. Megan, do you remember who won? I don't even remember at this point. Because they had that pre-score that doesn't matter until they get to the end. It's strange. So anyway, that's what we're waiting to find out the results for this one. As we draw to a close, I couldn't tell you who won because they don't have the points up anymore. Because it's supposed to be a golden point situation, and yet don't think it is. Anyway, to those of you who are watching on the Grappling Hour, what's up, Luca? Good to see you. Thank you guys for always supporting us. We appreciate so much of it. They are raising both of the competitors up, and we're about to get a hand raise. And your winner is one Philippe Andrew. All right. Continuing on. After this match, we now then see a super fight, I believe, between Christian Guzman versus Mario Fonseca. Oh, one of them's going to leave. One of the bros is going to go leave to go ahead and give us some I guess, coaching on the side. Freaking, what's his face here? Teague. Super villain looking right now. So hilarious. Oh, he looks like a sidekick character on like a sitcom. Oh my God, that's what he looks like. He looks like the dean. Oh my God, he's the dean from Community. That's what he looks like. How has it taken me this long? Jim Nash. Why? How did I never figure that out? That's what Teague looks like. Genius, Raph. I think Batista and Andrew were both 0-0 both matches before they gave it to Andrew. Cool. Thank you, Megan. I was like, I know Megan will know. At this point, you've paid very, very good attention to this, and that's great. But for the love of God, and put Jake Watson on the commentary. Right now, you've literally got Teague just counting the number of matches they have left. So, just saying. Anyway, you guys, Instagram, we love you. Give us some hearts. Give us some of those things that tell people you like. No, not that one, Raph. Give us the hearts, the things that people show that they love this. What's up, the new crew? I don't know how to say your name. What's up? Love you guys who are all joining us. We appreciate so much of it. We always do our best to try and keep an eye out for everybody here. Thank you, Abu. So funny. I think they are moving to their next match, so that part is good. All right, here we go with their next match. It is their second to last super fight that they have, which is Christian Guzman versus Mario Fonseca. So, Gracie Barra making their way and their presence known first. It says, number 3 heavyweight Curtis Blades uses UFC heavyweight record 12 takedowns to not make a great final fight. Is that what it says? No, that's what my update says. Pretty weird they would say that in the middle of a ESPN update, but that's what they did. Second entrance coming in right now. This dude's facial hair already wins. And he's kind of got a little bit of that kind of, I don't know if you call it a mullet, but it's definitely grimy. So you got Fonseca, who I think is getting my early appreciation here in this match, just because of hair and facial hair. Again, we're watching Third Coast Grappling, the very tail end of the event. Happy to have you guys here. 7 minutes on the clock. We're already at the 6:45, and an aggressive pull to guard by Chris Guzman. And of course, Mario Fonseca is just not settling for much. He's already coming in, both the gentlemen standing on their feet, trying to get their grips on the inside. You see for a split second, he teases the arm. Fonseca doesn't take any part of the bait. Two of them almost now in a little bit of a dance, trying to figure out who's going to get something here. Guzman tries for a foot sweep, doesn't get much of a return on it. Pulls down on the back of the neck. Fonseca doesn't even budge. His level is exactly the same, no matter what he's doing to be disrupted. That's an impressive skill to have. Anytime somebody pulls down on my neck, I'm already essentially taken down. That's how bad it is. Almost like a tie clinch over here by Juan Fonseca. Now swatting away tons of different grips. Both of these gentlemen doing a great job of fighting the grips consistently. They circle back on over to the center of the mat. The referee almost wasn't even needed. He signaled for it, but the two of them were like, fuck you, dude. We don't need you. Interesting dynamic happening thus far in. And of course, consistently pulling the back of the neck, and you see Fonseca has a 2-on-1 grip, and he's going to be able to come up on top now. Now, if these were points, they would matter, but they don't. Not at least until the after bonus round. We'll explain more later. And facial hair Fonseca is now in a very prime position inside of the guard. He's going to get awarded 2 points that don't mean anything. Remember that for later. All right, here we go. 5 minutes and 8 seconds left to go on this match. Guzman already starting to try and sit up, see if he can pull down Fonseca. Be interesting to see if he can maybe get just enough of an angle to start approaching to try and take the back here. it might take a second for us to realize what exactly is happening. So we're just going to give them a few seconds to play it out. 4:45 on the clock. An aggressive pull down on the neck from Guzman to Fonseca to try and keep his balance down. You're seeing Fonseca slowly try to get up and not fully committing to the guard pass over here. Now grabbing the wrist to maybe try and maintain some sort of control as he starts to stand up. Starts off tripods, and Guzman quickly brings him back down in a way that makes me feel a little uncomfortable in the sense of knowing this guy probably has a pretty good guard and is using it to set up what looked like an omoplata, but may now actually be a triangle if he has the opportunity to. Nope, as Fonseca sees it, pulls his arm back on the inside. So that is what we're having thus far in on this match, just to fill you guys in on what is happening, because some of you might not be watching it live. If not, don't worry. I got you. I got y'all covered. Y'all fam. We going to take care of fam as much as we can, even if your name is Sam. So that's a rhyme scheme for you guys. Fonseca still on the inside of Guzman's guard. Two of them not really doing anything super crazy in this match so far. What's up, good sir? Good to see you here. We're just watching Third Coast Grappling, doing a little commentary for you guys who maybe aren't watching, aren't interested, or want to know but just don't want to watch. That's what we're here for. Now you're seeing Guzman start to play a little bit higher guard. I like the way he sets it up. I like his swivel over to the right-hand side to cup underneath the leg to maybe try and increase the odds of getting a sweep here. Doesn't look like it's fully happening. But at the very least, it is nice. Slowly but surely, there's, it's nice to see some people in the audience too. They have an audience. They work together with an epidemiologist, I believe Dr. Degar, who works out that way, who actually worked specifically with the good folks over at Third Coast Grappling to try and increase the way that they space out their people to make it friendly for folks who are coming in to watch a live event. But also because it's Texas, they don't care. So keep that in mind. Again, Guzman, name of the game, has been pretty consistently just play from the guard, allow this to happen. I would say this to you guys. I would say maybe for your tournament, maybe make those the rules. For the actual super fights, it makes no sense that you would win the match by points, have points shown, then do an overtime. For a tournament, maybe I get it a little bit more because you want to have some sort of finality or some sort of real thing if there's no submission that happens, because, that should be the point of it. There's just something that doesn't sit right here. My stream is taking a momentary break, which understandable. Guzman still continuously trying to play on a higher guard, and Fonseca every time at the break just pushing him aside. At this point, I do also wonder if you're a ref, if we can work to maybe just let them stand up and do their thing again, because I don't think we're going to get much of a resolve, unfortunately, from this guard. All right, Fonseca looks like he's going to try and break the guard here. Nope. Guzman pulls him back in. Attempts high guard, back to mid guard. Now Guzman's trying to cup around the waist. This is where it gets harder to do anything, really. Just because there's... Oh, hold on. We might be at a triangle here. Guzman has been really good at setting this up. He has an armbar right over here. Oh, this might be that. Look at him. He might do it. Oh, you might do it. You're going to beat the guy with the facial hair that we all love and like. Oh, the arm is extended and you get the tap. I believe one. Guzman, Christian. To give us a submission thus far into the show. So kudos to him. Appreciate that, because it's been a rough night for submissions over with our friends over at Third Coast Grappling. So very, very appreciative to him. He gets a medal and apparently a giant kiss from Ryan McGuire. Meanwhile, Fonseca just gets a nice pat on the back. It's just funny to see. All right, we continue on. Very close to the end of this tournament. I know you guys have been very excited to keep us abreast of all the things that have been happening all this evening. It has been a fun night of fights. We've just got a little bit more before we call it an evening. And just to fill you in case you weren't watching earlier in the UFC, things you should watch. Austin Hubbard versus Max Roxoff. Tough one to watch, especially if you know Max, and we do. He's a nice kid. You had Austin Hubbard making it so that there was a stoppage in between rounds. Max called quits in the middle of it, and understandably so, he was taking damage, and I get it. So I'm glad the kid's okay. Lauren Murphy over Roxanne Modafferi. It's an okay fight, not something you have to go rush out to see. Then earlier you also had Justin James getting a stoppage via TKO on Frank Camacho. Good fight for Justin James. Then Jillian Robertson getting a submission at the last second over Courtney Casey. That was dope to see. And then, of course, Marc-Andre Barrett-Holt, who looked really good over Oscar Pichota, who gets some credit for getting a nice knockout over there. We gave him a nice cheers earlier in the evening, plus Tisha Torres over Brianna Van Buren, which up until a little bit later in the night was my fight of the night, but we'll tell you which one it is. Clay Guida getting, I don't think he was super upset by Bobby Green, but Bobby Green beating Clay Guida. Jim Miller with a beautiful, beautiful armbar. Just, so good. Armbar for Jim Miller. Plus, earlier in the evening, you also had Bilal Muhammad beating Lyman Good, Raquel Pennington over Marion, and then you've also got Josh Emmett in the fight of the night over Shane Burgos. It was amazing. Great fight. Just one that I just of our fight companions that we've had so far. I think it's one of my favorite things I've gotten to see thus far in. So very excited. That's what I've got for you guys. What else? As we now are picking up where we left off, which I believe is going to be Victor Hugo versus Joantas Gracie. So that's the fight that is coming up next on Third Coast Grappling as we inch our way to the finish line of their second Kumite. Here we go. And just to fill you in case you're wondering, after this fight, you're going to see Mona Bailey versus Mahi Jamil, sorry. All right, Victor Hugo looking not super bigger than one Joannas Gracie, but not definitely smaller than him. Pulled a guard by one Gracie. They dragged them back on over to the center of the mat-ish. No, they didn't. I guess they just try to redirect him away from the audience. Which, by the way, if that audience didn't move, that's on them. Joannas Gracie trying to go for a kind of De La Hiva approach, but instead maybe using it as just a second to get his bearings to start getting a sweep. Victor Hugo not having any part of it, though. You will see Joannas Gracie having both hooks underneath for a potential butterfly. He's just off to the side. It's just a matter if he's going to be able to get up. He's creating a little bit of distance because the two of them are in a little bit of a scramble. He's going to come up on top, and now both gentlemen are back up to their feet. So that's what we got going on. What's up, sir? Good to see you, my man. Glad to see you got some training in this evening. This is where I was at. I want to tell you right now, as we have this going on, you will see an incredible amount of effort probably being put by Joannas Gracie to do a little bit of disrupting Hugo's bounce. Victor Hugo is a difficult person to move, period. But if you add into the element of his stature and just the size differentiation between the two of them, you're going to see him use that posture as a little bit more difficult to bully and push around because he is significantly taller than one Joannas Gracie. But, you know, them's the breaks, my friends. So, yeah, I would assume Gracie is going to be trying to pull guard here consistently and aggressively. Meanwhile, they get pushed on over to the edge of the mat. He gets a single leg here. which looks impressive. Oh, no, don't take out the camera. I don't mind if you take out the commentary booth because that's just more jobs for me. Mask back on for the ref. And you see Joannis Gracie now trying to change levels, maybe trying to make things a little bit difficult for one. Ooh, nice little step over break on that grip for one. Joannis Gracie. It's harder because gi is always a harder sell to people. Not everybody is going to be always infatuated and in love with your gi competition, but you know, at its best, it can be really exciting to the point where I would say this. I think Victor Hugo's patches are now starting to actually peel off because the amount of work he's been doing this evening. So keep that in mind. Oh, do we have some blood? I think he's telling him he's got a poke in his eye. And Gracie is kind of looking at him like, yeah, bro, for sure. Really? Is that really what's going on here? So there's a slight pause. He's taking a moment, telling people, look at my eye. Joannis Gracie is just kind of biding his time. And we're back. Very nice of Gracie to go ahead and position himself back into the center of the mats. Rude. Let me see. 4:10 left to go on this match. I think it was his contact. Oh, who cares? You know, that's what you get for being blind. Says the guy with the glasses. Yeah, I don't know. For a split second, I was like, what a weird way to do that. Although I've never rolled with contact, so I really don't know what that world is like. I just figure I need to be blind like everybody else. Okay. Now you're going to see Joannis pushing him off, coming up on top. That should be points if they mattered. And now Joannis, if he wanted to, he had a single leg entry for a split second. I think he was thinking about it. Didn't quite get the opportunity to take advantage of it. So not quite exactly what we're wishing for Joannis Gracie, because I would like to see a little David over Goliath would be nice tonight. We'll see if that happens. Nothing there. What is up, Ifaro22? Good to see you. We're watching Third Coast Grappling. Hope you are enjoying your evening. If you have questions, comments, concerns, hints, allegations, hit me. I am here making sure you guys are all kept up to date on the latest. So do not worry if you are not watching. It is my job and my pleasure to go ahead and keep you guys as informed as possible. Also, it's free, so you know, you get what you pay for. Whew, let's see where we're at here. Moving back on over to the stream. Now we're just seeing Joannis working from inside of the guard. We might be here for a smidge, even though, ooh, sacrifice by Joannis as he just got off base. You saw Victor Hugo see the opportunity and come up and now is swarming him from up top. So he might be able to work just this weird neck crank here, though. He's got the back. He's got a lapel. He's starting to work it down. He might be able to get this choke from back. Yep. He's going to get the grips. It's close. It's about there. He might be able to get the tap here. This is a bad camera angle to go ahead and see exactly what's going on. But he was already at 10 points. So I thought there was supposed to be a mercy roll of this. Even if he doesn't survive the submission, the points might be enough. And he does, I believe, get the tap. The ref stops it. And you will see Victor Hugo making it to the final. Whew. Still going on. So that's what we got. And I believe Victor Hugo will be taking on Philippe Andrew in the final of this. Andre Santiago, I just want to say have a great evening and a good night. I am East Coast and great job. Thank you very much. No, thank you, sir. I appreciate you guys stopping by. It means the world to us to have this much support going on, especially this late at night. Also, just look at how tall the two of them are. This is boo. I forget what weight class. I know it's supposed to be like the heavies, but ugh. Ugh. Coming up next that I am very excited about, friend of the show, Mona Bailey versus Mahi Jamil. Mona Bailey is savage, dude. She is a young beast out in Texas. She destroys that scene out there. She's great to watch. She's very competitive. and she is one of the up-and-comers. She's going to be part of the future group of jiu-jitsu kids that keep us entertained and motivated, I think, because I think she's going to put it on tonight. We'll see. I don't know much about Mahi Jamil, but I'm excited to meet her and find out more about her game. So we've got that super fight, and then we will have the final right after that. Don't be surprised if they need to vamp, aka stall, for just a little bit longer. So just to give a little bit of the rest, depending on how this next super fight goes. But that's why you're seeing the commercials there. So this is a good opportunity to say, hey, if you guys have questions, comments, concerns, hints, allegations, throw them at me. I'll take whatever you guys got. Plus, I'm going to be doing my job right now to look and see if there's some stuff that you guys didn't get to see throughout the evening, because it is important that we always keep you guys updated on some fun things that happen behind the scenes. Por ejemplo, let us go on over to see on this. I don't know if this is already airing live, so I'll come back to this in a second. But in the meantime, I'm going to look up just a little bit of information for you guys to see if there was any other fun angles or little small things that we got to see from the UFC this evening. So let me go and call up ESPN MMA to see if they have any clips or new things that you guys can see while we wait for them to make their full entrances out to the mats. And the first entrant that you are going to go ahead and see right now, give you a second. Oh, wait, we have some actual things. I think ESPN MMA stopped updating at about a certain point. Oh my God. Look at this picture, though. I need you guys to understand why this sport is as crazy as it is. This was Burgos by the end of the evening. That look on his face is just perfect. Shane Burgos is just, oh man, he's great. That was such a fun fight to watch. I can't wait to go watch that one again. Other things that you can see just from the background of how it all looks. Oh no, Lyman Good says his heart wasn't in the cage at UFC Vegas 3 after his father recently passed away. Sorry I couldn't get the win tonight. I tried to honor my father, but my heart wasn't in the cage with me. Congratulations to Bilal Muhammad for his win and sharing the cage with me. Good luck to my brother Shane Burgos tonight. Well, bad news about that one. Here's what I would tell you this, though. Lyman, I don't think there's any more difficult thing that you have to do than having to deal with the family member that passes and then going to do the thing, which, by the way, now we are actually in Mona Bailey versus Jamil or Mia Jamil. And already you see, I believe, Mia on a submission already. So I'm going to go ahead and kick this out and return me back to full frame so that you guys can stay with us. Again, these two savages, they're amazing. Some of the future grapplers, and I'm super excited to get to see Mia for a first time because I'm not as familiar with her. But Mona Bailey already put in honor on top, starting to go ahead and just try and break up that grip. Already in side control at 5-0 ahead on points. So I guess the points are supposed to be if you get to 10 points, then the fight ends or the match ends. This is just so weird. Okay, whatever. Moan now is working on this grip on the arm. I would love to see her be able to pull off the submission right here because, yep, she could work on this Kimura very quickly, start to make things a little bit difficult, but yep, now she's on a rear naked choke. She has this. This is no bueno. Jamil gets the tap up to Mona Bailey. Mona Savage, dude. She's so good. So proud of her. And if she wasn't going to win by that, she was already going to be at 9-0 points. So, powerful stuff from one Mona Bailey, who, she's great, man. Good for her. Very proud of her. Well, we're closing in. This should be the next match. It's going to be our final match. So before we get to that, because we're probably going to take a while to give some rest to, I believe, one Victor Hugo, since he just competed 2 minutes ago. Let's do some house cleaning. First of all, if you guys aren't following us at Grappling Hour on There we go. Sorry about that. If you guys aren't following us as you should be on all of our major platforms, it is at Grappling Hour on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Periscope. All of them. Be sure to go ahead and follow us on all of those major platforms. If you are on a roll, though, and you aren't following us on Instagram, we'd love it if you follow us there too. It is at Grappling Hour on any of those 6 platforms. We try to keep new content going up all the time. Tomorrow we will be back at 3 p.m. Best Coast time to do Submission Underground 15. One Jake Watson, who is talking on here with glasses. Why are these guys wearing glasses? It's still the weirdest thing in the world to me, but they are. So Jake will be on the panel tomorrow along with one, I believe it is, hold on, Kevin Phillips, Jordan Peitzman, and Josh LeDuc. Returning back tomorrow. The old gang is reuniting to go ahead and do some more Submission Underground coverage, which is going to be fantastic. We've got a lot of our friends fighting on this one. Of course, Craig Jones is in the main event versus Gabriel Chekhov, which should be interesting to see. I think the favorite still has to be Craig Jones. Then if you go around, you're going to have also Jessica I in the co-main event. That'll be interesting because she literally just fought a week ago. Meanwhile, on the actual main tournament, for the whole purpose is whoever wins this gets the opportunity to take on Craig Jones at a future Submission Underground, and they get a cool $10,000 in that tournament. Some favorites include good friends of the show, Roberto Jimenez, Mason Fowler, Nathan Orchard, Cody Steele. All of those guys pretty good, and that's only half of the tournament. There's still 4 more to go, and they're now using this time to actually interview Mona Bailey. That's how you know they've got some time on their hands. Plus, I'm pretty sure Mona probably brought like 50% of the audience here, if not 60. So our thanks to Mona for putting on a good show and for giving Victor Hugo the opportunity to take a few breathers backstage, just because that's got to be exhausting. So I'm hoping that you guys will return back with us tomorrow. Join us for a full panel, have a good time, chill, relax, do all your good stuff. And at the same point, get to just know some of our friends here even better. And we'll hear a little bit more about our, I believe it's Fight Woodstock that is going to basically be something. Let me see. Oh God, that's so weird. Yeah, all these guys look like giant emojis still. Dorks. All right, what else do I got for you guys? Last match coming up. Very excited about it. Just to kind of preview how it's been throughout the evening. You have seen a weird twist of things going on from the onset of this. To begin, you had Gustavo Batista over Tanner Rice, then followed by Philippe Andrew versus Jake Watson. Then a little bit later in that evening, you had Joantas Gracie taking out Pedro Moreno after he won at Jits Kings last week, derailing a little bit of that momentum. And then you saw Victor Hugo take over on Ricardo Evangelista. Furthering things a little bit later, you had Batista then basically falling to Philippe Andrew, who advanced. Then you had Victor Hugo just recently submit Joantas. It's a very strange thing about this camera is every once in a while it just dies. Maybe Jake's will explain to you why they're all wearing glasses. I don't know. I think that Jake is also kind of a follower, so that Jake might be like, oh man, I saw they were all wearing glasses and I thought it was pretty cool. So I'll wear glasses because I do. Also, look at this sweet tattoo on my arm. Because that's really what Jake's like, in case you haven't met him in real time. But yes, I will definitely be asking him about it because that's the first thing I thought of when I saw this. It's like, oh, dummies. But, you know, the other thing you can never take out of consideration, Texas gonna Texas. So, you know, sometimes people just have really weird things that they do, and you can't really make heads or tails out of it. So I'm not going to tell them how to do their job, except, you know, maybe informing them they could do it better. Much love to them. Anyway, We are just waiting for the final match. Very excited to see how this will play out. So anyway, just to fill you in, like we were kind of reviewing a little bit a second ago, you saw all those people advance. I thought a couple standout moments throughout the evening from the folks who are in the finals is you saw Victor Hugo impose a lot of his size over Evangelista and then clearly against one Joannis Gracie, but that was still a very good match. And on the flip side, I mean, Philippe Andrew had a very close match with Jake Watson. So that's an interesting one to see. And I thought that he looked pretty decent over Batista. So for the most part, I would say if I had to pick one, and I guess I'm just going to force myself to do it, I think part of the momentum might be with Victor Hugo, especially getting a submission going into the finals, even if he is a little bit tired. Who knows? Maybe he's still on a run. Maybe we're going to see him pull it off this evening. So yes, it'll be him and Philippe Andrew coming up in just a little bit. Whoosh. But yes, Megan, I don't know. This is ridiculously silly. Also, I know this is just nitpicking, but I'd love to see somebody iron out the backdrop because it looks really weird to me to see that backdrop like with that many creases and like that. Anyway, that's my OCD talking at this point. This is how long you can tell I've been on air. We're literally talking about everything and anything. And you will see right now that Third Coast Grappling has been emailed. All the people, $10,000 is on the line this evening between Philippe and Victor, reminding you, hey, dummies, if you're not tuning in, get your TV, turn it on, join us. Meanwhile, we here at the show are slowly closing in on the last match. We're almost there, my friends, and we're going to get there. Oh, yes. Yes, we will. So let's see. MMA Junkie. I'm going to check out what photos they ended up getting from this evening so that you guys can see it. Unfortunately, you guys will not be able to see it over on your side. But I want to just show the folks a couple of the very, very cool things that we got to see earlier this evening. Man, these are clean shots. Just to give you an idea of what we're looking at here before we return back to the action, this was earlier in the evening. So here we go. Here's some photos to show y'all as we start to get to the end of this. Let me see. Boom. This was earlier in the evening from Austin Hubbard, who was able to get a stoppage between rounds over Max Roxoff, which Max is a tough kid, man. So that was a lot for him to do. I like that this guy, right? Such a weak move to call it quits between rounds. People would die to get the chance to fight in the UFC, and you call it quits. Yeah, bro, I don't know who you are. If you know you're going to get knocked out and seriously injured, losing 2 of the 3 rounds, why would you walk into brain damage? I hate seeing the corner trying to convince him when he said he was done. Yeah, I agree. People are dumb. That's why the internet's so wonderful to see people just have opinions about the dumbest of things. This is, of course, Lauren Murphy getting the win over Roxanne Modafferi. Then, of course, a little bit later in the evening, we got to see, man, that was a very impressive one. Earlier this evening as well, when we saw one Justin James, just so clean. All these hits. Almost looks like a throat punch, too. Then to fill in, of course, the rear naked choke victory over Courtney Casey by Jillian Robertson looked savage. I like that she has Savage UFC as her name, by the way. And then we also got to see Power Bar MMA. Looking dominant. 3rd round TKO. And he had an 0-3 start. Jesus. You couldn't have told it to anybody with any sort of certainty. Tisa Torres with this very nice photo over here. And then this was an interesting fight. Like, I guess Bobby Knight or Bobby Green versus Clay Guida was a little bit more interesting in the sense of, well, that fight happened. I don't know if I would have scored it that way. Then, of course, Bilal Muhammad getting the win over Lyman Good, who we just talked about a few seconds ago, who said his heart wasn't in the fight. However, if you ask me, dude, he put up a really good fight this evening. And then only Amanda Nunes has more wins at 135 than Rocky Pennington. So that's pretty dope for Rocky to have that on her name and her stature there. And of course, we want to make sure big props go on over to one Josh Emmett, who I think, man, I don't know how his leg is, but he put on such a fantastic display this evening. Show of heart, show of everything. So that's what you guys have missed. If you just missed any part of the UFC, we pretty much covered it all. And of course, yeah, sure. I mean, Curtis won. If you really want to stop time, go watch 1 through 3 in the rounds. Don't watch 4 and 5. Not necessary. And those, my friends, were the fights. So now we're just waiting for the last round to happen over at Third Coast Grappling, which sometimes is why it's a smart idea to go ahead and put 2 super fights at the end as opposed to just the one. Because when you put just the one, then we have nothing to see but Jake Watson vamping for time in the backdrop, which, as we know, not the best of ideas. So that's where we're at. Anyway, before we go to the final round or the final match, do you guys have any questions for me? Throw them at me. Love to talk with you guys. Excited again for tomorrow's Submission Underground. And we're coming up close on 4 hours. So it is close. We've been doing this for 6 hours almost altogether, but we're now on the way inching towards the very, very end of this dog and pony show. So close, guys. So close. I would tell you guys, though, the last piece of advice I have is betting odds. If you're going to bet, do a solid and take your bets on one Nathan Orchard. Let me tell you why. So on Grappling Hours site, we actually put up the odds that were basically posted. Check out these odds real quick. So look at this. All right. So Amanda Lowen, -235 over Jessica I. Sure. Steele, 235 underdog. Sure. Fowler, 80cc vet, -290. Sure. Jimenez at -210. And Orchard at +170. I think that line has changed ever so slightly. I think that's a great buy for Nathan Orchard. He's a previous winner. He's a runner-up. He's somebody who's got the experience. This rule set tends to favor somebody like him. He's got the experience from competing here before. And of course, Roberto is on fire. Just an amazing talent. But if you're looking for somebody who has a good return on your investment, I would say Orchard. So just to consider, just saying, you don't have to do it. But if you're going to make a bet, that's not the worst one to make. So anyway, we're finishing out the last few seconds of commercials that they have, which means they hopefully are coming straight to the end. I think that's probably why they do their, their email blast that they send to all of their Flow Grappling subscribers, just to be like, hey guys, are you back? I see Ryan in the background gesturing, so hopefully that means they're now moving to their final round, because that would be dope to see. Let's brush this hair out of my face so I don't look like a complete idiot. All right, here we go. I think they are about to start moving that way. And then what else do I got for you guys? Oh, this week on Viral Tap, of course, we'll be chatting about the fights tonight, the grappling event tomorrow. And if you guys haven't heard last week's episode, we talk about Fight Island, why Dana's on one right now. Who knows if he's on one this week? We'll see. And much, much more. Plus, we also kind of preview, I think we said that we're going to do like a fighter pay episode at some point. I think that's still on the agenda. A lot of people, we got asked by somebody who's like, well, what's your solution? You can't just use the NFL and the NBA as examples. And I'm like, the fuck we can't. What do you mean we can't? Yes, we can. So why wouldn't they be strong examples to use? That's our usual little question to them. All right. I think they are making their way out, which means we should be able to start moving ahead, which means you guys can get excited, especially those of you. Oh my God. Is there any audience left now? Oh no. Well, I'll this point, you would think to move some of the audience members, right? I mean, it is midnight or 11 over there, so I guess that kind of makes sense. Oh, yikes, 30. Okay. All right, the dry ice machine means it is time for Philippe Andrew to make his entrance on outside. And then once we have him, we should have one Victor Hugo making his entrance. And then we're off to the races, my friends. So hopefully we've got a good fight. Let's see if Victor Hugo pulls ahead. Like I mentioned, Philippe Andrew is a game competitor. No disrespect to him. It's just where we're at. So let's see what happens. Do you guys have a pick? I would love to hear it because I am curious to see if you guys are on the same boat as I am, or if you think that there is something that I'm overlooking, because it's possible I am. Who knows? The size difference here doesn't look as obscene as it did against one Johanta's, but could be deceiving. All right, here we go. Final match with some randos who are taking their seats. A beautiful sweep attempt. You got nice grips by one Philippe Andrew, trying to just get the best of Victor Hugo to begin with. If he can get that kind of judo toss hip over that way, he can make some really nice things happen. Pulled the guard by Victor Hugo, immediate sweep. Coming back up, I want Andrew, but Hugo has some size on his side. I agree. I wonder if that size is just too much to overcome. That's a difficult thing to really implement, or at least try to consider as you do this sort of a thing. But we'll see. Megan, digging you coming in with the reply here. Gentlemen, tie up 6 minutes, 10 left to go on my clock. Now there's grips being made. It's going to be probably a little bit of a slow burn, followed by a very, very quick sudden action. And I believe the bulk of that action is going to come from one Philippe Andrew, who I think really knows he has to make up for some of that size differentiation between the two of them. Victor Hugo attempting to get some sweeps, now looking to see if he can get he might be on a triangle here. Joantas is not stuck. Comes out of it, now may be able to come up on top. There we go. There might be a pass. Beautiful guard work over by one Philippe Andrew on terms of passing. Meanwhile, Victor Hugo, though, is not letting him just pass without any sort of ease. You're seeing now one Philippe Andrew trying to attack this leg. I think he's going to be trying to use part of his gi to go ahead and get some kind of leg attack here. He does get the tap, though. Victor Hugo coming in and winning. He is your $10,000 winner this evening. And now, as he Wolverine screams at the audience, you, my friends, have a winner, and couldn't be more perfectly timed. Here's why. This is coming to an end. This is coming to an end. We have done our due diligence this evening and have covered more than, I think, 7 hours of UFC fight coverage. It has been our pleasure. My name is Rafa Sparza. We're going to see you guys again tomorrow, so don't go anywhere. 3 p.m. Best Coast time. That is 3 p.m. Pacific. Be back here to watch us watch Submission Underground. This many. That seems right? That's what it is. I'm like that 10th Planet kid who's just like, what is this? No? Is that the 1W? Who knows? Who cares? Anyway, what I'm saying to you guys is this. Submission Underground 15, we're doing a Let's Watch. We're going to have the full panel back again tomorrow. I cannot thank you guys enough. If you're not following us, follow us at Grappling Hour on YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, Twitch, Twitter, and on Instagram. We love you guys. We can't thank you enough. You guys are the best. I'm going to say goodbye to you first, Instagram. And then I'm going to say goodnight to you on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch. Much love and appreciation for all of the support you guys give to us. We will see you again tomorrow early-ish at 3 o'clock Best Coast time. Much love. It's been a great day for grappling.